In 35 years of policing, this was one of the most dangerous and high-risk situations that were presented with us. Effectively, there was only limited injuries, minor injuries, and no one was killed, thank God.
Irene from Home and Away is top of the Aussie TV world this morning. Actor Lynn McGranger has won the Gold Logie, a fitting farewell as she steps away from the popular soap after 33 years in the role. There are calls for more medicines to be listed on the PBS, with a new survey revealing 1 in 10 Australians have to borrow money or take on extra work to pay for their medications. The cost of drugs subsidised under the Pharmaceutical Benefit Scheme currently tops out at $30. Some good or bad news depending on your poison. Taxes on draft beer have been frozen, but increased taxes on spirits are being applied from today. And Tourism Australia has released its latest Come and Say G'day campaign worth $130 million. Some big names involved, including Robert Irwin, enticing visitors to Holiday Down Under.
G'day, mate. Just going for a stroll?
Something took my phone.
But we better go find it.
As well as coach Michael Voss dealing with another disappointing fade-out from the Blues against Freo yesterday. Defender Harry O'Farrell has also suffered a suspected ACL.
Players just love playing with him because he's super reliable, and over the course of time, he's going to learn his craft about what it's like to be a key position player, and he's going to be a very good player for us. If we do lose him for that period of time, that's a bit shattering for us.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Yes, good morning, welcome, Giddy up. Mick, Gannon in the chair for you. Monday, the August the 4th, 2025, and what a weekend of racing it was. Plenty of disappointments, plenty of stories to tell as we look forward to what is going to be a big week of racing. Of course, group racing does return to Sydney. Missile Stakes, 9th of August, Royal Randwick. But we'll have a look back on this show today at what was a big weekend of racing. Flemington, of course, we saw a very, very good win by King of Rousseau in the Ori Star. We'll catch up with Pete Snowden, Will Larkin later on in the show. Anna Roper, she rode a double at Rosehill Gardens. Chris Waller trained his first winner for Godolphin. What a story that is. That and much, much more as we look forward. The Monday breakdown, Watling, Lewis, Anthonys, Nelson. What a lineup we have there. Get in your questions, 0499 736 736 if you've got any questions. Any runners you want to follow. Maybe some questions for the gents there on how the track's played. Rosehill was certainly a treat for on-pace punters there, of course. We'll touch base with Zach Tunbridge, have a look at the Bet365 market movers, see where the money was there on Saturdays. Butch Castles, we'll catch up with him, see what's happening over the ditch in New Zealand. The Meads Test, looking forward to this one. Wayne Hawkes in the studio, if you can find it. And Johnny O'Neill. Miles Fitzner live from Darwin. They'll give us a Darwin Cup preview. Miles, well, he's let us know he's taken the favourite motor race in the Darwin Cup in the Calcutta. So interesting to see Miles' thoughts there. Johnny O'Neill, of course, but well, what a weekend of racing it was. King of Rosso took out the feature race of the day at Flemington, and here are the concluding stages.
Back behind those horses, She Dances, Miss Aria back to the inside, further back King of Rosso, and then came Splashback, still a long way off them. King of Rosso moves up on the outside, stomped up to just about take the lead from Marble Knight and Bandy's Boy. Coming away though, King of Rosso, Mickey D's going to win it for the third time. King of Rosso by 2 lengths, Bandy's Boy, Marble Knight, and then Miss Aria.
And I welcome in the trainer of King of Rosso, Peter Snowden. Good morning, Peter, and well done on the win on Saturday.
Yeah, good morning, Michael. Yeah, it was very good, thanks. It was a great result.
Huge result. Look, this horse was one win from 15 starts not so long ago before lining up, and it was at a benchmark 78 at Rose Hill, 14th of June. 3 runs later, he comes out and probably marks himself as one of the most informed horses in the country. What's been the secret to him?
I think gelding had a bit to do with him as well. A bit of confidence. It never goes astray either. He's won a couple of benchmark races on the way through and been winning with a bit of authority, and he's just got a real grit about his work now. He's very tradesman-like. He's got a great turn of foot, and he's seen that shine out on Saturday.
Where to next for him, Pete? Obviously, he's won a Group 3 now. He's probably still getting well at the weights wherever he goes next. So what's the plans with him?
Yeah, well, I had a bit of a think about it. I had a bit of a look yesterday, and there's not a lot for him. Just right this time of year, and we are thinking long term. He's a Magic Millions horse that'll be foremost in our mind. Make sure we get him back up there in time for that meeting. So more than likely, he may have a little freshen up his 3 weeks off, and then recharge and look to give him a run at the back end of the Spring Carnival, and maybe have 2 runs before we go to the Gold Coast in January.
Yep, fair enough. That's maybe avoid some of the wet tracks as well here in Sydney. Speaking of avoiding wet tracks, Jewellery's was set a task from the wide gate first up, and they've opted to scratch her on Saturday. I assume that's just all down to the track conditions. Pete, where will we see her next time?
Yeah, there's a race for next Saturday and the following Saturday here in Sydney. We get a bit of a take-up in the weather. We're supposed to hopefully we get it. Still running as I speak here now, but it's supposed to clear up today and give a couple of fine days this week and next week. The week after's not too bad. So there's a race for this Saturday and next. So we'll see her the next couple of weeks. We'll see her get around again.
Obviously, she goes around this Saturday. We see if we do see her. What would be her target race for the spring? She's got plenty of ability.
Yeah, just be with her. Not real sure yet. It's you go as far as they can go, but you need to know their ability first and work through the grades and to see what sort of talent she has. She seems there's a bit there, but they will keep raising the bar. It'll be a benchmark 72 this week. If we run, or the following week, it'll be a 78, and they're good. They're really good race for the judges. And on that's a tough group. That 78 model here in Sydney is very tough, and if you win them, you can normally, especially win them quickly, you normally go on to win better races later on. So we'll just take one step at a time and just place her where we think she can win and see where we go from there.
Yeah, the stable's striking really well at the moment, so working through the grades seems to be the key for you there. And Marikia, we saw her go around. She was really good against the pattern of the day at Canterbury. She looks very progressive. I'd imagine you probably follow a similar path, just take her through her grades. But would you have any listed or group race aspirations for her in the spring?
Yeah, it depends how far she gets. As I say, we're still learning about her. And you think 14 mile will be perfect, but she may even get a bit further than that. So we'll find out along the way while we're going through the grades to see what a right distance is. But you're right, that win was pretty spectacular the other day at Canterbury.
Does she have the ability to sit more forward in the run?
She can, yeah, she can definitely. And probably the further we go, the further forward she can be. Just having a lot of gate speed, it has got a big action and just one of those free-flowing fillies. So I would think mile pace, you probably find her in the first 4 or 5.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing her get out to a bigger, more spacious track as well. Speaking of horses that can sit more forward in the run, Raging Force, he's going to have a huge spring carnival ahead of him. What are your plans for him as a next run and then call it a grand final?
Yeah, he had 3 runs, and the last run he had Rosehill was a good win. He went out and he had 2 weeks off. He had full week in the paddock doing nothing, and next week doing a little bit on the walker. So he's had a little bit of a freshen up. He's back in the stable 2 weeks now. And look, I was going to look at the Run to Rose Saturday week. but I think it's just going to come a little bit quick, so I might just take a step back and maybe look at the Sandy Minigo first up and gets in on the limit there, 55 kilos with 100 metres, and it's always a good race, so you get a bit of a litmus test on where he sits at the moment as well. So, yeah, he's an exciting horse, so he's come back up that fresh up. He looks fantastic, so I'm looking forward to getting back to the race again.
Would I be right in saying that the Coolmore down the straight at Flemington could be an ideal grand final for him?
Oh, that'd be fantastic. If he wins his way along the way, and if he wins the Santa Monica first up and possibly the Heritage after that, we'll certainly give it some consideration. So, yeah, that will be a Masters race to win. If we can win that, it's certainly a huge race. But just whether he's good enough for that, time will tell.
Yeah, his figures have been good. His ratings profiles suggest he's not too far off them. So in what's a pretty even bunch of 2 now 3-year-olds, I think is a big chance. Pete, plenty of horses going around in the trials coming up this week. Anything we should be keeping an eye on, or anything sort of off Broadway that the listeners can follow with interest?
No, I think Strategy 4 should probably trial next week, not this week. He's going to go to Santa Monica. You'll see him step out. Beeman's only about 3 weeks away before he has his first trial back, so he's probably another one that showed a bit last time in, and he's done remarkably well. He's just got enormous, so I'm super wrapped the way he's come back. So hopefully he can continue where we left off, but they're probably the 2 most promising 3-year-olds at the moment, other than those 2 fillies you mentioned earlier.
Would a race like the Everest be a step too far for Beedman this time in?
I think it's a bit too big too quickly. Look, he may be there, but it certainly wouldn't be on our radar just this stage now.
Yeah, fair enough. Thanks, Peter. Really appreciate your time this morning. Stable's absolutely flying. We look forward to following you throughout the spring carnival.
Thanks, Mick. Appreciate it. Thank you.
There he is, Pete Snowden. Make sure you get those notes out. If you did miss all those horses we talked about, jump on the podcast, check those out later on. But some really good information moving forward for a stable. There's absolutely low flying. 0499 736 736. Send in your yes, 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 your oh no's. If you've got a King's Gambit, and we'll get to those later on in the means test. Wayne Hawkes will be joining us. But right after this break, we're going to chat with Will Larkin, the co-trainer of Zeus End Station, and Barrakill. We'll have a chat about the win of the weekend after this.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
350, it's Zeus Sensation nursed in front from Run Harry Run under full pressure. They were followed by Fortunate Kiss, Agapta running by, rumbled again, and Harmonia Sonora. Zeus Sensation, 150 metres to go, running by on the outside, and Fortunate Kiss is getting out, but it's very wayward. Zeus Sensation still in front of Running By and will win the favourite. Zeus Sensation from Running By, Fortunate Kiss, wayward, then Green Fly.
Zeus Sensation was tough late with Jamie Mellon aboard after doing plenty of work early, making it 3 wins on the trot for the 6-year-old son of Zeus Star. To talk about that performance, I welcome in co-trainer of Zeus Sensation, Will Larkin. G'day, Will.
G'day, Mick. How are you going?
Doing well, mate. Doing well. That was a nice little win there on Saturday.
Yeah, he was terrific. He added a bit of versatility to himself going forward and doing it all from the front, which is a bit of a change. But he was tough late. It was good to see.
There's a bit of commentary from Jamie post-race that the horse sort of just did what he wanted to do and she had limited control. Is that not usually in his nature, or just a new trait that he's brought to the table on Saturday?
Yeah, he can be a bit like that. The previous start when she got a bit of cover, she was really struggling to hold him. He travels really nice and strong on the bridle, but when the race kind of slackens speed, when he's in behind her, he can just get on the chewy a bit. He just doesn't like to come back too much. But it's amazing that he's been able to do what he's doing when he's still doing things wrong. So it just goes to show that he's a very nice horse, and he's gone to a new level this time in.
Only horse that was rails in run and to win on the day. That's adds a bit of merit to that win. Where to next for Zeus Sensation?
I haven't penciled in exactly what's next just yet. We're going to speak to Nathan there, but likely we'll give him a little bit of a freshen up in between runs and maybe trial into a Chautauqua Stakes at the Valley, and then hopefully we can go to the Rupert Clark from there.
Jamie Sticks, roll forward at the Valley, should be a pretty good setup. Yeah,
you'd think so. He's won at the Valley a few times. He does love the trip there at 1200, so makes sense.
0499 736 736. Keep these text messages coming in. Just had a few text messages here, Will, in regards to a couple of horses in particular. Lady in Pink, I believe, maybe on a Caulfield Cup path.
Yeah, she resumed on Saturday. She was excellent. Everything we wanted to see. Just really power through the line late. She did that. She's pulled up enormous. So, our plan is to get to a Caulfield Cup if she's good enough, but she'll prove that along the way. And she looks to have come through nicely. So she'll head to most likely a PB Lawrence now.
Yep, love that. And Barrack Hill, arguably the stable star. When do we see him next, and what would be his targets for the spring?
His main target is the Manikato. Really want to get him to that race. So we're just working back from there. He'll trial on Friday, and then he'll head to the Carline Stakes first up over 1,000 metres. And then how he fares there will ultimately decide whether he goes to a Chautauqua or whether he goes to a Moya, and then that'll be the lead into the Manikato, which I think will be right up his alley.
How long have you been co-training with the Corson's team?
This is the first season just finished, so it was a very good season. We had some really good success in some good days. We had a winner on Caulfield Cup Day last year with Lady in Pink and a double on Cox Plate Day, so it was a dream start, and hopefully we can just build on that from now.
Going from strength to strength, mate. Love to see it. For listeners out there, always looking for some horses off Broadway, something out wide. What have you got? You've got plenty of horses in the stable. What do you got for the listeners?
A filly called Super Grace. I think she goes quite well. She'll likely head to Sandown on Wednesday. She's been a little bit disappointing at the races so far, but she's got a stack more ability than what she's shown. Just few gear changes might help see the best of her on Wednesday. Beautiful. Love your work, Will Larkin. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Best of luck with your spring campaign, and really looking forward to seeing Zeus Sensation at the races again. Barrack will come back, and really looking forward to seeing you guys continue on in your successful ways. Thank you.
There he is, Will Larkin. Good to chat with him, see where Zoo Sensation's going. We'll have they'll all be up on the podcast. You better get your pens, pencils, crayons out and go back all those runners this morning. Big weekend review coming up. We'll catch up with Dean Watling, Mitchie Lewis, Chris O'Nelson, Peter Anthony. We'll catch up with Zach Tunbridge, Butch Castles. The means test with Wayne Hawkes in studio, I believe, is on his way in. Johnny O'Neill, Miles Fitzner, of course, they'll be joining us with a Darwin Cup preview as well as we look forward to, well, what is going to be a big day of racing. And I believe that Miles Fitzner has the favourite in the Darwin Cup. Well, righto, let's do this. Let's review what was Flemington.
It's now time for the Monday Breakdown.
Mitchie Lewis, good morning to you.
Good morning, mate. How are you this morning?
Doing well, buddy. How's the weekend?
Yeah, look, solid, steady away, getting stuck into some work. So, yeah, steady enough weekend.
Many winners out there, mate. Flemington played pretty fair.
Yeah, look, quite fairly, I would have thought. We were good there early. Bergerac, Loose Some Winmore set up the day and then flattened out a little bit, but that was always the way. Look, typical Flemington track, really. You wanted a little bit of cover, or you wanted to be around 2 lengths from the leaders at the 600. Only one leader won. And a good spread of lanes, 3 to 24, the winning lanes, but obviously 15, 16 and 24, they were the 3 straight races. So wide in the straight as per usual with the rail out a little bit.
What are we bonusing there moving forward, Mitchie? Horses, rails in run, perhaps the leaders as well?
Yeah, look, I don't think the inferior ground, clearly the inferior ground was the inside, I should say, sorry. So that horse that won up lane 15 in the straight, obviously, Loose Some Winmore had to go a little bit to the inside, so give him a little bit of credit. And look, I think it felt like a little bit of race fitness came to the fore. Gannon, you sort of saw some of these fitter horses like Zoo Sensation, who had to do a little bit of work early, and I know she got to control the tempo, but I just think we're in that funny period at the end of winter, aren't we, where I think you just give a slight little edge to these fitter horses than some of the resuming ones.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it, moving forward, because the better horses are now coming in, turning up first up, and then you got some of these residually fit horses. It'd be very, very interesting to see which way it goes, and year on year it can change. Sometimes you can see some real dominance from these horses that have residual fitness. And then I think last year we probably noticed that the class prevailed. So really interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks. The group racing starting to heat up and spring is well and truly in the air. Mitchie, the first race, well, it was probably one of the more intriguing races of the day, albeit only a 5-horse race. But we saw Crossbow get the job done there. What do you make of the race?
Yeah, look, obviously interesting race. I think we talked a little bit Saturday morning. I didn't have a lot between Crossbow and Exit. There was a lot of talk. I thought that the position in run probably cost Exit the race. But I don't really think that was the case, to be fair. I thought it had its chance. It was just a bit green in the straight. You could see it sort of laid in a little bit, laid out a little bit, while Crossbow sort of just pinned the ears back and kept going. So I wouldn't be jumping off Exit, but to me, they run the race at an even enough tempo. I think it had its chance. It's just going to have to find a little bit of improvement there, which I certainly think it's capable of, and in the right stable to find such improvement.
I think you make a good point there, isn't it? Like, position and run is everything, but Crossbow is probably run a faster last 200 metres than Exit. So make of that what you will, Mitchie.
And it's only about a length difference behind them. It's not like they gave Crossbow a soft lead either. Yeah. Exit was tracking. So you are right. Of the race, Crossbow was the fastest last 600. Exit was the fastest last 200. That's just the tail of the race. They were close enough to each other. It's not like Exit was giving Crossbow a huge lead. According to my stuff here, it was only 1.4 lengths from it at the 600. So, look, I just think if these are young horses, Exit's going to have improvement to come. I wouldn't be jumping off anything yet.
I could have led them up in race number 2 over the 25-30. Artican blinkers on. Great ride by Tommy Preble. Did everything he could, but the splits were sensational. I know a few of the boys were keen on that horse, but Bold Soul proved too good, even off the slow tempo.
Yeah, and look, I mean, Bold Soul, it's one of these things, isn't it? Arcadan sort of coming up, rising in trip, but these horses like Bold Soul, Mook the Mill, they've been going up and down for such a long time, and changing in the guard I thought was quite handy too. I mean, they take a little bit of their turns. This lot that Bold Soul just keeps getting the job done. So, I mean, Arkaden, not the worst. Tricky day to sort of be up on speed. So, slower sort of last 600 sectionals of the race. Just to keep a keen eye on it. I don't think it was the worst run on a track that probably didn't suit leaders.
Yep, fair enough. Move on to race 3 here, Mitchie, over the 1,200 metres, and De Bergerac was too good. Kappa 39, 62 kilos, was pretty good as well. Nearly got the job done, and Riverina Power looked like a horse that could probably jump into your black book moving forwards.
Yeah, it's a funny old race to sort of review. My opinion, like Kappa 39, I went back and had a look. He does most of his best work fresh. He tends to flatten out a little bit second, so I'm not sure if he's quite a horse to follow just yet. I think deeper into his prep maybe, but De Bergerac, I know a lot were keen. He's been racing well down the straight behind Lafracar. Just got the job done really. So rewarded a few loyal ones there.
Would you be willing to follow any other horse outside of the top 3 there, Mitchie, or you just think that they're probably all found that level now?
I was really tempted to put in Riot Koki. He's been a really hard horse to follow, but it was one of his better runs for the last few sort of starts, but it is a horse that's tricky to follow. So just see if it maybe drops down in grade or something. But outside of that, yeah, I found it a little bit hard to follow in the straight race.
Lose Some Win More, too good down there over the 1,100 metres there. Call to Glory stuck on well, as did South of India. Those two are out in front, but Lose Some Win More dominant with the 60.5 kilos there for the Jollies.
Yeah, and I saw Richard Jolly's interview after on .com, and he sort of suggested, I think he thought the horse probably gets a rating of 94 now. He's flying down the straight. They're probably going to look to identify some of these black type straight races at the minute, and he's peeled off the fastest last 600, 400 in the meeting again. Inferior ground, so why not? He's worth a shot. It could be one of these ones, Gannon, where he meets some of these better sprinters, but with the race fitness, maybe he can sneak in a good win here. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do. I think they said there was one in 2 or 3 weeks that they might target, and all the money in the race was with documentary. If you go through the Stewart's report, it's pulled up lame. So I've just put that horse in a forgive file here to see where it pops up next, because I didn't get a fraction on how lame, but it's only a lightly raced horse that's clearly got some good talent.
Yeah, it's interesting horse, isn't it, Mitchie? Because how old? I think it's 7-year-old now, so clearly had some issues. So that might be some concern, I guess, moving forward now that the horse has pulled up lane. But you're right, like the punters did not miss documentary. So one for the forgive file there for Mitchie Lewis. That is 4 races done and dusted, reviewed there at Flemington. This is Giddy Up, of course. Mick Gannon in the chair. Brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead for free and confidential support. Visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. We'll take the news, Mitchie, and then we'll be back. We'll review races 5 through to 9.
Powered by Signet, making SEN news this hour. After being given the green light to go ahead, the Sydney Harbour Bridge has seen one of the biggest protests it's ever had. More than 90,000 pro-Palestine supporters marched across the iconic landmark yesterday, calling on the government to do more and try and stop Israel's attack on Gaza. Lynn McGranger has taken out the gold logie at Australian TV's Night of Nights. Search continuing today for 2 people after their light plane failed to arrive in New South Wales over the weekend. And hopes for an interest rate cut could get a boost when the latest spending data is released today. Most experts think it'll have increased over the last month, boosting the case for a drop in rates. SEN Sports next. As well as coach Michael Voss dealing with another disappointing fade out from the Blues against Freo yesterday, defender Harry O'Farrell has also suffered a suspected ACL.
Players just love playing with him because he's super reliable, and over the course of time, he's going to learn his craft about what it's like to be a key position player, and he's going to be a very good player for us. If we do lose him for that period of time, that's a bit shattering for us.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
This is Giddy Up. Mick Gannon in the chair, brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Mitchy Lewis we'll take a look at Flemington Race 5 here. It was over the 2,000 metres. We saw Vega Magnifico prove too good for them.
Yeah, and I suppose the story that most will take out of the race is Federer's bad luck. What to get held up for the 500, 400 to the 150. So caught on the inside there. Maybe that was a little bit of a risk with him from barrier 2, but he's probably the horse that you take out of the race off that. So I just want to see what setup he gets next, because I don't know what you thought, but I thought that racing maybe back in Victoria, he just looked a little bit better suited there, and with a nice clean run, he could really have threatened or, won the race, finished a lot closer to Vega Magnifico. So if he gets a similar setup next time, I'm probably happy to give him one more chance.
Yeah, it's wearing pretty thin on the punters, but you'd imagine as this horse gets out beyond, stays at 2,000 or gets out a bit further, I think he'll keep winning. But how many times we need to keep taking the short quote, Mitchy? That's the question.
Yeah, I wonder if you get it next time. So I think I saw from some interviews after, they were thinking 1.5 miles next. So it'd be interesting to see.
Okay, that's interesting. Look, his ratings continue to improve every time he steps out in trips. So definitely a horse you're going to stick with. But he has proven costly for the punters. We might ask Jack Turnbull. He'll be on in a minute. We'll have a chat about his star, Juju Kaboo, obviously the assistant trainer for Kieran Ma. We'll ask where Juju Kaboo's going. We'll also see where Federer goes to next, Mitchy, and you'll be able to get some back. Race 6, we saw Zoo Sensation roll forward for Corson's and Larkin team, and Jamie Mellon was aboard and just dictated one of the only horses to win from the front, rails and run all day.
Yeah, and look, it's the first time 4 starts this prep Zoo Sensation who's led. I thought it was really good initiative for Jamie to just push forwards with the horse. So, doomed if you do, doomed if you don't sometimes. She's gone and pushed forwards. He's led for the first time this prep, like I said. She's just pulled the handbrake and given him every chance. So it's a simple thing, but it's a smart ride. Look, outside of that, Cafe Millennium I thought was an eye-catcher. Obviously fastest last 600 of the race. Just maybe a little bit far back, and Fortunate Kiss probably just running into some bad luck. But Zoo Sensation, they've obviously got some grander plans for this horse, and he's sort of showed good adaptability, sort of proving he can push forwards if he needs to, or probably best with some cover too. So just a good solid win from that horse, ticking it off like he should do, really.
Can you follow Running By with a bit of confidence from the race?
Yeah, I thought so. They're probably the ones, is like Running By, Fortunate Kiss. I thought Running By was solid, but it sort of comes and goes a little bit, doesn't it? What's that? 4 runs this start now. Disappointing the run before, went 10th. Just want to see where it pops up. I reckon if they do drop down to an 84, like a BM84 level, just to see if they can knock off a win, he's certainly one that I've just written down there, looking for that drop in grade maybe.
King of Resso proved too good in the Group 3 Ori Star, and it was a nice little performance there, putting them to the sword, and made it, I think that's 3 wins on the trot for this horse. I spoke with Peter Snowden earlier, and the gelding's been the making of this horse. It was his suggestion, Mitchy, but another dominant win and pretty good down the Flemington Straight. So I think this horse might have a little freshen up, and they'll head towards a Magic Millions campaign for it.
Yeah, that's probably good timing. Like I'm just going through now. What is he? He's probably 7 runs into this prep. Really solid prep, obviously. And this is maybe one of those races with just a touch of race fitness, I think, to set him up quite nicely. 1,300 metre Rose Hill last start, then back down to the 1,200 on a good 4. Just had a really good setup. Well ridden, obviously, into that nearly sort of inferior ground. But no. He had every chance. I know, obviously, the one splashback out of the race, people might be a little bit disappointed in, but I just think still had the second fastest last 600, 400, 200 of the race. I'm going to follow that horse better suited up to sort of your 1,400, 1,600 metre trips from here.
They went a good clip in race 8 over the 16.20. We saw Two Down Discreet. Well, probably a good setup for him. He was very, very good. But $14 out to 26s. So obviously the Smarties didn't consider that tempo was going to be on the cards. Far Flung finished off well. A gap to third. Mitchie, what do you do with this race moving forward?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, Far Flung and Two Down Discreet, I thought really solid. Like you touched on, I like it when these horses, and they go along at a quick clip in the race, and then some of them are managing to finish strong. So if you're going quicker than class to the 600 and then still finishing class, it's obviously quite impressive. First up, 1,600 metres here, won impressively. Previous form, she was in those sort of stronger sort of Group 1, Oaks level races, winning some group races too. So she's got some good upside. I'll be interested to see what they do next. Maybe flatten out a little bit second up, but I'll just put her. Sorry, she's second up there today. Third up, I thought she was ready to peak. Yeah, I don't know who I wanted to follow out of the race. I thought Two Down Discreet, maybe just getting back to it. Far Flung, obviously, Pudding had some excuses, and I thought the Black Storm. He went along quickest, obviously, on a day that was pretty tough to lead if you were doing that. So just maybe a forgive file for him as well.
Yep, we saw Stylish get the job done in the last even tempo. Mitch, any horses to follow from that?
Look, Stylish, really impressive. Obviously, I think this is nearly right of the day. Similar to Zoo Sensation, Blake Shin just took the horse forwards. In its last 10 starts, he settled it more forwards than twice more than any other rider. So from that wide barrier, put him in a good position where a horse like my horse, Jazz Affair, she flashes home for fourth. They drew next to each other. One was out the back and one was sort of in the 1-1. So it just goes to show these positive jockeys what they can do with the right ride. So, yeah, Terrasar good as well. Jazz Affair quite good. They're probably the two to follow.
Bit of intent over everything, Mitchie. We'll get your black bookers for Flemington. Also, we'll cover off what was a 9-race card there at Murray Bridge right after the break.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Giddy Up, brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead for free and confidential support. Visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Mitchy Lewis, thanks for holding on. Horses to follow from Flemington. And before we get to those, off a text line from Matty T. One long day on Saturday was poor. Nothing in the stewards. Anything you could take out of the data, the sectional times there that can help us forgive that horse, Mitchy?
Look, bear with me as my computer's just frozen. I thought it's a funny long race. Maybe the tempo. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to pull him up now. If you'd seen, they went along. It's probably the quickest tempo off the day, off the top of my head. They went quick last start as well. So maybe I'd probably be willing to just forgive him. 2 quick tempos in a row. Maybe he'd flattened out a little bit second up. Just see where he pops up third up. So off a quick tempo first up, maybe that was just the question.
Yeah, you'd think 12 to 1600. I think you're spot on, Mitchy. 12 to 1600. But the very fast tempo over 12 is not the huge issue, but the very fast tempo rising in trip 400 metres would probably find most horses out. So there you go, Matty T. If you are keen on that horse, Mitchy, you suggest we just we butter up again, but over a mile third up.
Yeah, I'd say that. If they stick to that sort of tempo now, you'd think you'd have the peak sort of race fitness third up.
Yeah, ready to go. Horses to follow from Flemington?
Oh, look, they're pretty simple. Splashback, I think, is a horse that I don't really want to jump off just yet. I want to see her back at 14 and 16. And race 5, I'm going to give Federer another go. I'm only joining the party now with Federer Gannon, so I'm happy to sort of stick on from here now.
I might get back aboard again. I jumped off on Saturday and was pulling his tail, so it's good to see. But I think I might jump back on with you again, Mitchy. Sounds like young Maeve, she's pulling your tail as well, mate. So I'll let you go. You have a fantastic
day. Come out of nowhere. Yeah, no,
as they do.
Apologies. You have a good day.
No, good on you, mate. There he is, Mitchy Lewis. I'll get him to text through the Murray Bridge horses to follow as well, because I know there's plenty of listeners out there keen on that. Let's catch up with the main man from Sydney, Dean Watling from deanwatling.com. Good morning.
Morning, Gannon. What a treat Monday morning. Get to speak to you. How are you, mate?
Mate, doing well. I'm disappointed I can't see you on my screen. Are you just via the phone this morning, or do we get to see your golden locks?
No, just via the phone. I copped a nice split to the ear yesterday footy, so that's still bleeding. Yeah, that's stitched today, so it's probably better you don't see the face today.
How is the footy season treating you?
Awful, Dano. So plenty of injuries in the rain and the wet yesterday, but we still love it. So no, it's all right. The Broncos are going, oh, that's all that matters. And the
move to the front row hasn't been fruitful?
I'll probably be there next year. The scales are climbing.
Oh, too good. Rosehill on Saturday, we saw a pretty leader bias set up there, and like you can't really blame anyone. It was I was quite surprised I got through the day, Dino.
Yeah, I was going to start by saying that. I think we're all sort of worried. Newcastle got called off. It's one of the best wet tracks. Yes, it's sort of 2 hours up the coast, but props to everyone who got that meeting done. There was a couple of stages. I think that race Elton Boy won that you sort of went, gee, I don't know if they're going to get another race in, but they did. The track held up somewhat okay, and it's probably funny. We don't often see these heavy decks, but every time we do, we sort of get reminded that the difference between Rosehill and Randwick, and Rosehill can be more often than not that on-speed setup. When you break it all down, it makes sense. You're not getting clumps of dirt back in your face. You're sort of up on speed. You can get to the right lanes. I think that's what we saw. I think, speaking to you earlier, the only sort of horse that came from off-speed or without outside the top 4 in transit was Juju Kaboo in the staying race. So they did go pretty hard early there. So with the day, you need to be up on speed, you need to handle the conditions, and you sort of needed a little bit of a race fitness. What I found interesting, Dano, was maybe the small fields didn't allow those horses to get to the superior outside lanes, so that maybe made it look a little bit more on speed, if you could sort of look at that angle as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just always hard to make up ground, especially when it is raining. There's enough kickback, and the tempos weren't slow as well. So in most of these races, they went quick, or at least even time. So it's difficult to make up the ground when your wheels are spinning for most of these horses. Let's have a look at race 1, Dino. We'll kick off there. Amusing was too good. J-Mac Waller in the Godolphin Blue.
I know. I think this might be the first winner outside of sort of having your sole trainer. But yeah, it was funny to see in some regards in the sense of the blue jacket, but in the other regard, Chris Wall and J-Mac have seen them team up and held its mark in the market. I was a little bit worried where James sort of settled on the fence, leaders back. You're sort of thinking and pre-race that you want to get those outside lanes, but they held up pretty good. Sort of 3 off was good. Tommy Berry tried to do the Nash, the Osborne Bull down the outside. Probably just had to use too much juice in the small field to get there. Nubbald was pretty good in behind, but amusing. Strange somewhat for Godolphin. Their horses tend to peak first up, trough, and then third up peak, but Amusing is one that sort of needs those first 2 or 3 runs and then hit the strap. So it's a horse that we can follow wet or dry. It's rock hard fit now and can climb through the grades.
I was going to ask about that, Dino. So, traditionally we see James Cummings and the Godolphin horses up in Sydney, early in their preparations they fire, and as they get later in their preparations, they sort of, their ratings tend to fall off a cliff. It's going to be interesting what we do with these horses moving forward. New trainer, but still into a preparation. So I think Waller's has showed that you can get Amusing to go, whether it was just a case of right place, right time, right conditions on the day. Well, I guess only time will be able to sort of be the true measure of that. But what are you going to do with the former James Cummings trained horses that are deep in their preparations? Are you just going to play straight back to them on a case-by-case basis, or are you going to take them on?
Yeah, it's very, very hard to say. I think the ones that maybe have the 2 to 3 or 4 runs under their prep, they're probably the ones you want to take on. Amusing probably the outlier, where its profile suggests, I think it's 2 from 2, third up, and then progresses. So it's the outlier. The others, it's going to be very hard unless they're fresh. So I saw Michael Friedman training a couple the other day at the trial. So I think if we just tie into the trainer's traditional way he goes about them, I think that's the better way to follow it. But yeah, the ones deeper into the prep, they're the ones that may be a little bit concerned on in the sense of how much juice is there left in the tank on that sort of horse. But I think it's case by case, and it's something that it probably hasn't been talked about enough from us form analysts, is what we're going to do over the next sort of couple of months with all these new Godolphin gallopers around the track under new stables. So it's going to be a fun little conundrum for the Cardinal Gannon.
0499 736 736. Sending your text messages. Any questions for Dean Watling? We'll be back to review races 2 through to 10 right after the break.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
This is Giddy Up, brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead for free and confidential support. Visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. We are joined by Dean Watling reviewing what was Rosehill Gardens, a very wet Rosehill Gardens there on Saturday. Dino, race 2, we saw Cold Brew for Richard and Will Freeman. Jason Collett sit 3 wide, no cover, get the job done in dominant fashion.
It was. It's hard to figure out how much we tack on for sitting 3 wide. Obviously, an advantage to land on speed, but it's never an advantage to sit wide there, probably at Rosehill, albeit this wasn't a shoot race. Gannon starting to put it all together. Cold Brew, Richard and Will sort of placed this go up really well. I think the best side of this horse was didn't want to lay in or lay out, which he's done previously to hinder his chances. So no, he was good. He can progress. Wet or dry, doesn't matter. He's a horse in form, and we know that camp, they tend to get the best out of horses later in the preparation. So nice win from Cold Brew.
They certainly do. And speaking of nice wins, without parallel in the highway, what a win that was.
Some win this. I think there's unknown. Yes, 2 from 2 on stop. It's an always unknown. Probably goes on to a Cosy, Gannon. We'll see. I know it's firming, but yep, nice win in the highway there without parallel.
Looking forward to that, Dino. We'll touch on the races 4 through to 10 right after the news. We're all here, courtesy of Bet365 and what you're gambling with.
Powered by Signet. Good morning, I'm Adam Pont with SEN News. The federal government may have the power to overrule a Victorian working from home law. The state government is looking to legislate working from home 2 days a week. Federal Social Services Minister Tanya Plibersek telling Seven they support the idea but want more details.
It's a matter for the Victorian government how that would happen. We're not marking their homework, let's put it that way. We're making it very clear that we support work from home at a federal level as long as it can be done sensibly in negotiation between employers and employees.
Well, after thousands rallied across Melbourne and Sydney on the weekend, the Albanese government has responded with a fresh $20 million aid package for Gaza. The money will go towards food, field hospital supplies and emergency support for women and children. Hopes of an interest rate cut could get a boost when the latest spending data is released today. Most experts think it will have increased over the last month, boosting the case for a drop in rates. Searching continuing today for 2 people after their light plane failed to arrive in New South Wales over the weekend. It took off from Tasmania on Saturday. And Lynn McGregor has taken out the gold logie at Australian TV's Night of Nights. It's a fitting send-off for the 72-year-old home and away stalwart who's retiring after more than 3 decades on the show. And talk show queen Oprah Winfrey is coming to Australia for a series of shows across the country. She'll be appearing at Melbourne's Plenary Theatre on December 11 and Sydney's ICC Theatre on the 4th, with dates also for Adelaide and Brisbane. Tickets go on sale August 12. SEN.com.au Sport is coming up next. Injuries, the big worries for both the Dockers and the Blues after last night's final game of round 21. Fremantle midfielder Hayden Young hurt his groin, while Carlton defender Harry O'Farrell suffered a suspected ACL tear. Lando Norris has finished ahead of Oscar Piastri in a 1-2 for McLaren at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and Meg Harris has won her first individual gold in the 50-metre freestyle at the World Champs in Singapore.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
This is Giddy Up. 4th of August 2025, Dean Watling joins us as we are working our way through the Rosehill Gardens. What was a very wet Rosehill Gardens, Dino. And, well, it was good to see this horse, Sunshine Law, get the job done for Denham Winan. What do you make of this horse?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to a couple of people sort of Thursday, Friday. We're doing the form for Saturday here at Rosehill and obviously Newcastle, and saw Denham's name there and a couple of really nice sort of horses in the stable. So come from just off the speed there. I think it's that leader's back, an ex-Yulong horse that was just toughing it out. I think the run of the race was Sister Dane, who I think Zach had his time back. He probably goes to the outside of top of the straight. He hunted up the inside and no fault of his own, but a couple of horses laid in. He's got sort of stuck. But yeah, great to see Denham there. I saw the post-race interview as well. She was ecstatic. I think she had a run in the highway as well, potential, the midway that sort of ran well too. So props to her. But I think the one out of the race I want to follow is Sister Dane back on a firmer deck. That form times through, amusing really nicely, Gannon.
Nothing worse from a punter's perspective, seeing your horse go back to the inside in a 6-horse field. It was the remote has never travelled so far. We move on to race number 5. Dino, we saw Star Deal Air Bjorn get the job done with Star Deal too good in front and won by 3 lengths. Dino has put a margin on them. Race fitness the key here.
Yeah, I think race fitness is the key, and the ride. I think they've tinkered a little bit with the way they've ridden Star Deal, but I think the biggest tick for me is they figured out the distance range is preparation. So they tried again to go out past sort of 1,200 metres last start, 1,300 metres there. Yes, ran well enough, but was no match for Goyce at moments. Drops back in trip, rock hard fit, sent to the front, and by Dundeel, you'd suggest 90% of those sort of gallopers by Dundeel handle the wet. So it was a great ride by Josh Parr, and another one on speed, right lanes. I thought the run, a sneaky run, was Userpin. You look at her form; she's got no form at all in the heavy. So that's what you're somewhat looking for any horses to follow. Some that don't handle the heavy, that probably run out of their skin. So I think that's similar to Grand Prix as well, who did look like it enjoyed the ground. But yeah, they're probably the two to follow out of this race.
Tatoka and Userpin both made up good ground from the back, which is very, very hard to do across the day. Race 6, Dino, Headley Grange. Proved too good, and Rinse Repeat, another on-speed runner.
It was a strange market move. Wellwell was heavily back late, and I know you know this horse pretty well, Gannon. Gets in light with the claimant on Saturday and does love the wet. Looked for the Stewards report. It got beaten a long way, but there's nothing really there. So maybe we listen to the camp and what they suggest over the next couple of days. But yep, Headley Grange, another sort of setup where probably wasn't suited last start in the Ramornie up to 1,600 metres, back to 15. We know it loves the wet. And we talk about Air Bjorn. Isn't Joe Pride in outstanding form at the moment? He's got a couple of new gallopers in his stable as well. And I'm waiting for that elusive 2-year-old that he suggested is an absolute jet to step out as a 3-year-old too. But
have you worked it out yet?
I haven't. I was watching the trials intently last week. He doesn't tend to let him go at the trials either. So you've got to try to find one that's finishing towards the rear that maybe rockets through the line. So that we'll be investigating this week for that. But back to Headley Grange. Probably got more runs installed this prep too, Gannon. That was only 4th up. So probably one that we can just keep following if the tracks do stay wet.
Winner of the day is clearly Juja Kaboo, and the punters knew very, very well backed as soon as markets opened up. Looks progressive enough type. I wonder, we'll try and find out from Jack Turnbull where this horse is going to next. It looks progressive, Dino.
It does. This was the win of the day. It looked enough. I think if you watched in the run, it looked like me yesterday in the footy field. Uncomfortable, wanted to sort of duck, weave, didn't really want to be there somewhat. But no, it was good. Race got the best out of his horse late. All the form read dry, so I sort of potted it on our Thursday show. And then since then, every single message I got off any person to do with Mar was like, nope, it's sent up to Sydney because it absolutely swims. So would have appreciated that message prior to the show and prior to me doing the form. But this was an outstanding win. One and I think only horse to come from off pace throughout the day. Yes, it was a 2,000-metre event. And forecasting, hopefully you get to chat with Jack today or throughout the week, Gano. But I see there's a Group 3 Premier's Cup over 2,000 metres that ran within 2 weeks' time. So you'd suggest the best stayers won't be there. This might be a nice stepping stone, and they might sort of freshen it up and not sure, aim it up later in the spring for some races. But Juju Kaboo, the most progressive galloper out of the entire meeting there Saturday at Rose Hill.
Yep, definitely agree with you there. Elson Boy out in front, too good in race number 8. Probably not many you could really follow out of that race, Dino. Would you concede that?
Yeah. I struggled to even see who the horse was outside of Elson Boy in the run.
Yeah.
So props to everyone that sort of found it. But yeah, just another dead set mudlark. Something probably I missed. I sort of out of form, obviously. This prep hasn't won in over 400 days, but one that just absolutely loves it, sort of Jungle Edges. So we'll be waiting for a wet deck, and I guess that horse will be aimed up wherever the wet goes. But yeah, not a whole lot to take out of that race there, Gannon.
Just another horse that perhaps and I could add to the list that we tipped last start, La Vega Magnifico as well, that have come out and won a big price. You just keep adding those to your list, and that's the great game of punting, isn't it, Dino?
Oh, it is. I think you go through those runs, it's either seconds or horses you're back to the start before that win. So I saw Vega, I jumped on the lounge, I saw the last 100 metres, and I thought, I wonder if Gannon was on this.
Oh, dead set. No, I certainly wasn't. And Jack Turnbull will be joining us in about 10 minutes' time, so we'll be able to ask him about where his star galloper, obviously Kieran Maher's star galloper, but the assistant trainer there for Kieran Maher, Juju Kaboo, will be going to next. And we started seeing a bit of a pattern there late in the day. The Novelist Too Good, War Eternal, well, looked absolutely gone, Dino, at the probably 200. Made good ground and almost gave a yelp late. Bjorn Baker gave his horse a big push around the $23 mark. Would have been plenty of deductions there. Started, what price did this horse start? $3.80, second favourite. And Yoshinobu, well, clearly doesn't like rain-affected conditions, but the Novelist Too Good out in front.
Yep. Probably maybe half a run or a run short to be handling that heavy 10 conditions for War Eternal. I know the form does read second, third up. That's when it finds. But maybe you would have preferred it had sort of a second run and then hit that heavy deck. The Novelist, though, some training performance. This horse has been off the scene for a sort of a month or so. I had a tick over trial. But to do that sort of off that setup, I thought this was outstanding. I know War Eternal sort of coming at late, but then you saw the Novelist sort of maybe eyeball it, see it, and found a little bit. So it's a really smart galloper, the Novelist. He can maybe knock off a couple of these lower sort of listed races potentially in the spring. All its form said good before that track, but we know what else and Bolt, they drum it into their gallopers to handle the wet, and the Novelist did that exactly on Saturday.
Off the text line here, morning Mick. Yes from the weekend. Was watching my boy the Novelist win his benchmark 94 at Rose Hill on Saturday, so that's from 331. Good to see. That would have been very, very good out there. You would have needed something to lift your spirits because it's been cold and wet. Ravenclaw in the last, another horse that was far too good for them and nearly won by 4 lengths. And first up, that's some training performance.
That is, yes. I think we touched on the top of the show what we were looking for in the form guys. Rock hard fit horses who handle the wet tracks, and Ravenclaw's probably the opposite profile of that. Yes, goes well in the soft, but first up, Waller normally leaves. They do tend to sprint well first, and I love backing Chris Waller, but probably not in a heavy 10 setup, the last race of the day. But again, up on speed, how much do we tack on for that? That's going to be the conundrum the form analysts and us sort of face over the next couple of weeks. What do we do this meeting? Catch the Glory is good again. Probably a win installed soon, and outside of that, you can probably forgive the rest of them late. Race 10 after a really, really testing day. So Ravenclaw, great training performance, and excited to see where that horse gets in his preparation.
What do you do with this meeting moving forward, Dino? Mark down here, question mark over any horses that are sort of 7 to 14 days, given how testing it was, and maybe really looking for them to be here on a sort of 21-day turnaround. Do you see it the same way?
100%. I think that's the big thing we take out of it. You can sort of spend a lot of time on, yes, who to follow, who not to follow, but it's going to be their next setup is key. So, like you mentioned, you probably want a good 3 weeks between runs, and any horse that maybe was a dominant winner, back on a drier deck or even a sort of softer deck, you probably want to be slightly against. I'm just assuming that these big margins are going to suggest that they come up somewhat shorter. So it's going to be fun to work out, but I think you've hit the nail on the head. The number one point is going to be when they do turn up. You don't want any quick backups unless it's obviously heavy next week, or we'll wait and see what the sort of go is. But yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Horses to follow from Randwick. I'll kick off. I'll go Killer Kerr in the midway. War Eternal for sure. I think just with a bit of more race fitness, he'll be winning a race. And Magnet's here in the last, Dino, by Written Tycoon, big enough sort of style of horse, been trialling really well. I don't think the heavy 10 suited at all, but at one stage looked the winner. Fitness sort of gave out late, and I think also probably just the conditions of the day. But I think Magneteer, once back on a dry deck in 3 or 4 weeks' time, will be very, very hard to beat. What did you have to follow from the meeting?
Yep, I had Magneteer as well. It's a horse I've kept an eye on off the trials and tends to sort of be a little bit softer that camp first up. So second, third up with that horse. The other two, Juju Caboose, the obvious. Hopefully, Jack gives us the lead where it goes to next. And Sister Day, one that no one probably missed, but I think on a slightly firmer deck with that form tying into Amusing, I think it's not far away from a win. So they're the three: Magneteer, Sister Day, and Juju Caboo.
Beautiful. Dino, love your work. Thanks for joining us this morning. Any winners looking forward to the rest of the week on a Wednesday, or any trialers for us that listeners can keep an eye out on?
Good question. We got one. The Cantiamo is meant to make its return this week, Gannon, so it should be down for the midweek, so wait for those fields to drop. Tari's off today, so somewhat of a day off for me, but we'll keep an eye out for those Wednesday markets. Cantiamo, who we've backed in the Golden Rose, so hopefully it kicks off. But
bit of the Bondi to Bronte walk for you this afternoon. Bit of a nice latte sort of setup, mate.
There is no walking. There's a nice cork to the shin as well. So I'm pretty much bedbound today, So I'll head off and get this ear stitched up and listen to your dulcet tones for the rest of the morning.
Oh, you're a good man, Dino. There he is, Dean Watling from deanwatling.com. Let's take a break. We need to come back with Chris O'Nelson, Peter Anthonys, Zach Tunbridge from Bet365. He'll join us, Butch Castles, and then we'll be straight into bagger tips and the means test. Wayne Hawkes is not far away right after the break.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Mick Gannon in the chair. 4th of August. Never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead for free and confidential support. Visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. We caught up with Mitchie Lewis for Flemington. We had some horses to follow there. We also chatted with Dean Watling, and the big horse to follow, well, from that meeting was, of course, Juju Kaboo. And we have Jack Turnbull on the line, the assistant trainer for Kira Marg. Good morning, Jack.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Mate, thanks for jumping on. Busy day for you. This horse was ultra impressive there on a rain-affected track at Rose Hill. How did he pull up from the run?
Pulled up really well. To be that effective on that ground, club did a really good job to get through the meeting firstly, but to be in a spot where he got shuffled back in the pack and the Waller horse looked like he'd kicked clear or got away on us. It was a bloody good job to pick him off late.
Yeah, it certainly was. Was the thinking that he would handle, obviously, rain-affected going, and that's why you sent him to Sydney, probably not necessarily looking for a bottomless 10, but that was the play to move to move him up to Sydney for a run on what was a rain-affected track. The rumour mill was certainly doing its work.
Yeah, it was. We were confident. I mean, he won on the soft. We've had a few Bilardos that love the mud, and as you said, we didn't expect it to get that bad, but yeah, he loved it. He does have a nice program coming up. There's a race for him in 3 weeks over 2,400 in 74 grade, so it fits the bill really well and just gives him a chance to work through the grades up there with some good prize money on offer.
Is he a lightweight hope in a feature race in the Spring Carnival?
Possibly, yeah. We don't want to jump around too quick.
It's off the text line here, Federer. They want to know where it's going next.
So, yeah, if we just step him up nicely and don't smash his handicap, that's probably where we're at the moment.
Fantastic. And Federer, the listeners are keen to get a handle on this horse. They're keen to get Federer a win. Where to next for him?
3 weeks. There is a race at the Valley. There's a 2040 78, and then middle of October, or September rather. If he was to win that, there's a nice progression race over a little bit further. But he's pretty much the Victorian equivalent of Juju Kaibo. We don't want to rush him through the grades too much, but we do have good belief they will be better horses in time and over a trip.
Yep, fantastic. Busy day for you. Obviously, the jump outs there. Anything we can jump on this week, maybe going around Wednesday, or any horses heading to the Missile Stakes on Saturday we need to keep an eye out on?
Yeah, we take a few fillies to Sandown Wednesday. Hear the crowd. She was better last start. We've just put a one-eyed blinker on her near side, so I think she'll be pretty good odds, and she's found herself in a nice fillies and mares race, so I'd stick with her.
Love a one-eyed blinker. Righto, there he is, Jack Turnbull. Thanks so much for joining us on what is a very, very busy morning for you. No doubt we'll chat to you in the coming future, maybe this week for Stable Mail.
No problem. Thank you.
There he is, Jack Turnbull, chatting about Juju Kaboo, Federer, and a couple of horses going around on Wednesday. Really good of him to give us his time. Righto, let's have a chat with Chris O'Nelson for a review of Eagle Farm. Good morning to you, Chris O. You there, Chris O? I can see you. You're looking $1 million.
I can't hear you. I can hear you.
Loud and
Can't
clear.
hear me?
Got you now. Hey,
Beautiful,
Chris,
beautiful.
Eagle Farm, no leaders got the job done up there. A couple of on-pace horses stuck on and got the win, but the majority of horses that got the job done were, 3 to 6 lengths from the leader at the 600. And is it just the kind of the way that you'd expected the track to play on the day?
Well, I thought with the rail in the 3 metre position, they might not get off of the fence as much as they did, but they did tend to get off the fence. So the swoopers coming out wide had the better of it. Later in the day, we had Red Zeus get up nearer the inside to win for Benny Thompson, his first winner back from Hong Kong. But yeah, you're mostly right. Off speed seemed to be favoured, and getting to that outside part of the track in the straight seemed to be the way to go. So look, some nice wins. I'm sure you're going to mention a couple of these, but obviously Tough to Muss making it 7 from 9 was a highlight of the day.
Certainly was. What are you doing with that race? Are you taking anything else out of it other than the winner?
No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, he didn't beat any superstars, that's for sure. But look, it's funny hearing David Van Dyke speak after the race. He said the horse has anxiety issues, and they take him to the races regularly when he doesn't run. Like, he's been to the races 20 plus times, and he's only started 9 times. So they did bring him to the track, or take him to the track last week. They put him into the stalls, and they just give him experience of getting used to all that sort of thing, and then take him home again. So it seems to work for him. I think that's something we should do, Mickey. Next time we're in a horse, demand that the trainer takes the horse to the races, even when he doesn't run, because it's working.
As long as they don't bill us for the transport, Chriso.
They probably would, actually. They probably would.
It just costs us $12,500 to have the horse run once, but that's okay. As long as it wins, that's all that matters.
As long as it wins. Yeah, that's right. And wins somewhere half decent.
Give Giggles was pretty good in race 2. Won by just near 2 lengths. Progressive enough sort of horse. Do you think it can go on with it?
Yeah, look, Give Giggles is a horse that Tony Gollan's had for a little while, and he'll be the first to say, well, he did put his hand up when we spoke to him a while back to say that he got the prep all wrong last time in, nothing panned out, and it was starting to look the same this prep. She had just found trouble at every run she had, but then they decided to ride her in front a few starts back, and she led all the way there. She did a really good job. So last start she was good on speed, and this time around she just sat off them. Ange Jones rode her a treat. She just sat off the speed and had them covered at the top of the straight. So that race was a bit of a sprint home, though. The first 3 out were the first 3 home. Give Giggles, Sicilian, Lady Wardell. Ocean Czar made some ground, will improve off the run. But, I do think Give Giggles can definitely win again this time of the year.
Speaking of fast races, race 4, Victory Command, Lupine, Connecticut, got very, very close finish there. What do you make of that race?
Not one I'd be following going forward. 18-15 restricted race off-season. They do tend to take it in turns. Rock Hard Love was the favourite. And he'd been racing really well, but I get the feeling he might have had enough now. He didn't have the same dash this time around. Look, Merchant Flyer was one I thought could run a race, and it was a horrible sight, ran second last. So no, that is not a race I'd be looking at strongly going forward, Mickey.
Yeah, our man Shane Curlier was all over Connecticut for a race in Queensland there. We spoke to him on Saturday, and he would have been filthy on his birthday, with a little bit dusty to see the horse get so close. Probably the run of the day, I thought, was Paris, well backed, early markets, and then started $2.10. Tony Gollan's got the best out of this horse in a matter of a few weeks.
Oh, yeah, not even that. Really strong gallop during the week, certainly enhanced Tony's confidence. It was a good win because, look, he sat back in a race where they didn't go hard. They've gone out 36 and change and come home 34-26. So the on-paces were suited. Teltani Field sat outside Hawker Hall. They finished second and third, but while Ange Jones had Peril really trucking there prior to the home turn, and once that gap came in the straight, through he went. And look, he was good. That last little bit, I did notice, though, he tend to pull up late. Teltani Fields was able to come again, but maybe that Ange was a bit soft on him then. But he'll probably go for a break now, and he's a horse that Tony's going to head towards the Summer Carnival.
Another length in that horse, I think, with a bit of sting out of the ground as well. So good win, nice little bit of turn of foot. Speaking of, setups that didn't necessarily go their way but still get the job done, Golden Decade in race number 8, slow out again, similar to race 9, but was still able to get the job done, spotting them some 5.5 lengths at the 600, Chriso.
Yeah, been a hard horse to follow. Like he showed a fair bit. He's gone off the boil a little, and look, he was the roughie of this field. $41 in an 8-horse field. The tempo wasn't strong, but the pressure was strong early. There was a line of 3 up front. We had Party for 2, 3 wide. We had Hold On Honey the Rail, and Mr. Galazzi split them, and they just had enough pressure up front to basically beat each other and set it up for something to come from the back, and that was Golden Decade, who was able to burst through. So whether he can continue that form or hold that form going forward remains to be seen. But look, if you just jumped off a plane, landed at Eagle Farm and saw him win, you'd probably suggest he can win again. But that isn't always the case, unfortunately.
No, it certainly isn't. And more often than not, we do need the right race shape to get the job done. And certainly the case there. Chris, so horses to follow. from Eagle Farm?
Definitely just flying out of the first race. We all thought this would be a race that was a trot and canter. Everyone decided to read that, jockeys, connections, etc., and they ended up going hard. So he did a really good job to stick on. That's 2 good runs in a row for him. Alpha Sophie out of race 6 was a good win against the odds there. Nothing went right for CJ Graham, but the filly got it done, and I think you'll see her down south later in the year. And obviously Peril out of the last race. So just flying race 1, Alpha Sophie race 6, and Peril out of race 9, Mick.
Love that. Love those 3. We can follow. You keen on anything midweek? The fields are probably not too far away. Anything in the weights or the acceptances that we should keep an eye out on when the fields drop?
Not yet, but you'll be the first to know come tomorrow morning and Wednesday morning.
Oh, I love your work. Chris O'Nelson, thanks very much for your time on this Monday. Hopefully the weather's nice up there, a bit nicer than what it has been in Sydney, no doubt.
Absolutely glorious. Not a cloud in the sky and about low 20s, I think, today and tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm not too happy with those tracks in Sydney at the moment, and it'll make it hard to have a bet on any of those tracks. So hopefully they can dry up soon.
Don't they ever? What did you make of it? Obviously, very, very hard to make up ground. It was
terrible.
A complete on-speed dominated day, and like 3 of the last 3 leaders got the job done. As a form analyst, who spoke to Dean Watling on this, as a form analyst, what do you do with those horses moving forward? Probably more importantly, what do you do with the winners moving forward, Chriso?
Look, I just have a big query over the form. Certainly forgive anything that didn't perform, and the winners, I mean, I can't take much out of that meeting at all. It was a similar story last Saturday at Randwick. I thought that was similar with the rail out so far. You really can't take much out of those 2 meetings. And Mick, I don't know why they don't run those meetings somewhere like Canterbury or Warwick Farm, put the rail in the true position and just change it up a little bit.
Yep, fair enough. It's way well and truly above my pay grade, Chriso. I'm just too busy worrying about deductions. There's a couple of races there on Saturday. I thought that I was going to have to pay them even when my horse won.
Oh, no. They're a disgrace too. That never seems to work in your favour, does it?
Never really does. Thanks for your time, Chriso. We'll chat to you tomorrow.
Good on you, Mick. Look forward to it. See you, mate.
There he is, Chris Nelson. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. We'll take the news and we're back with Pete Anthonys.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News this hour. The federal government may have the power to overrule a Victorian working from home law. The Victorian state government looking to legislate working from home 2 days a week. After thousands rallied across Melbourne and Sydney, the Albanese government has responded with a fresh $20 million aid package for Gaza. Hopes of an interest rate cut could get a boost when the latest spending data is released today. Lynn McGranger has taken out the gold logie at Australian TV's Night of Nights, and talk show queen Oprah Winfrey is coming to Australia for a series of shows across the country in December. sen.com.au sport coming up next. Alex de Minaur into the quarters of the Canadian Open. He beat American Francis Tiafoe 6-2, 4-6, 6-4. Alexei Popyrin also through. He'll face Alexander Zverev. Meg Harris has won her first individual gold, taking out the 50-metre freestyle at the World Champs last night. And a 1-2 for McLaren. Oscar Piastri finishing behind Lando Norris at the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. The Western Whip Around. Tune in to Racing WA TV on 7+, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West.
This is Giddy Up, Monday the 4th of August 2025. Mick Gannon in the chair while our man G Hall, he's on a nice little break over in Europe. 0499 736 736. Pinjarra Scarpside was the venue over there in WA, and as we welcome in the man, the myth, the legend. He's got a new haircut. He's looking $1 million. Peter Anthonys, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Gano. That's too kind.
Mate, look at that. That is fresh cuts. Is the missus happy with that new haircut?
Yeah, she is. Maury's done a fantastic job, and looking forward to getting his appraisal in 4 weeks' time after documentary was heavily backed into favourite and didn't even fire a shot there on Saturday. But, you know, stems the brakes at the moment this time of year.
Poor old Maury. Luckily, he's flying one of the best hairdressers, barbers in Melbourne. He can recover from your, well, we'll call it average tipping. Did the horse pull up lame? Might have just lost Pete there.
Yeah,
Documentary, Pete.
Lame after the fact, but never really looked likely, to be honest.
No, certainly didn't. Pinjarra Scarpside, let's
Actually,
touch
now, look, lame in the stewardship.
Just lost Pete there. We might try get him back on the phone. Yeah, we'll just try you on the phone there, Pete. But Pinjarra Scarpside, we did see 8 races, run and won. And as we just look up here, Pete Anthonys just about to join us now. His new haircut looks a treat. If you did miss Clippers and Tippers, go to YouTube and check out Clippers and Tippers. Miles Fitzner sat down with Pete Anthonys. You can dodge that tip that he gave you, but a fascinating story about how we got into the game on Clippers and Tippers. Just go to the SEN Track YouTube there, and you'll be able to watch that. Pete talks about some of his biggest days on the punt, how his brother's interest in a horse got him into the game. As I welcome back Peter Anthonys.
G'day, Gano. Apologies for that. The internet's been chewed up just by getting the focus on the hair, so...
Too many megapixels on that beautiful hair of yours, but that's all right. Good to have you back, Pete. Talk me through what was the Pinjarra Scarpside. Heavy 8, plenty of rain around over there in WA now. A couple of leaders got the job done on the first. The track looked to even itself out a little bit across the day.
Look, for the most part, the track was pretty below par. If you have a look at the steward's vision for each of the races, you can basically tell that the inside 4 lanes are far cleaner than anything wider than lane 5, which was significantly marked. The heavy conditions obviously didn't give a lot of options there. They moved the race meeting away from Belmont. They were concerned obviously with that impact of the rain, the heavy showers Saturday morning that might have on the renovation. And look, in the end, if you weren't holding the inside there in the straight, you couldn't win, with the exception of Spectacular Park. So that's obviously a real good push for that horse and what was a very fast tempo race. But look, the last 4 races on the card, Little Silver settled outside the leader and basically pivoted back towards the fence. Dark Looks drew barrier 1 for Alan Matthews and Paddy Carberry at 20-1. Keep Attacking for Alan Matthews and Paddy Carberry drew barrier 1, or barrier 3 it was, but after scratchings came into the inside and got the job done at 100-1. And then Gage Road settled outside the leader and just zipped away into the better part of the straight. Look, we've had really disappointing tracks over the last 4 or 5 weeks there in WA. It's no one's fault because obviously Belmont out of commissions put a lot of pressure on these provincial tracks, and the wet weather just has deteriorated a lot of the parts of the courses. So, look, very difficult to have an early bet at the moment, and we're just going to go through the review. I think it's probably alternating between myself and Terry Leighton, bashing our heads against the wall at the moment. But if it's not racing towards the outside fence, it's holding hard on the inside. So, look, what that means going forward for horses to follow, I thought in terms of the runs on the card, if you go to race 7, there was a bit of money around for Son of the Boss. He just didn't begin as clean as Jason Brown wanted, and he basically restrained the horse back to worse in midfield. I thought he was a good enough run first up to suggest that if he gets his own way, maybe the jockey changed there next start, he could be going close. But otherwise, I'll be treating this meeting as with a few of those meetings in Sydney with a grain of salt and not even that.
Yeah, it's a bit tough, isn't it? Belmont looking forward. This will be on Saturday. What's your thinking about how that track's going to play?
Well, hopefully there's not as much rain around this week. The forecast is a little bit unknown at this stage. It looks like there might be some wet weather for the early part of the week, but hopefully that all dries up and, we could actually get a bit of a crack at them later in the week. But we're just taking it one meeting at a time. That's all I'll say at the moment. We're still a fair way off getting back towards Ascot, so we just have to be patient at this time of year.
You got the new haircut. You're up and about, but you seem a bit flat about the racing over there at the moment, Pete. Let's take a little look at Flemington and what was Crossbow good in the first. What do you make of that race? And I thought Exit might have been a little bit below expectations. Can we forgive her?
Look, I'm not sure if we can forgive her, but I wouldn't be surprised to see her have a let up or a freshen up. She looked like she was just really flat after that first up win. So, but this is also, what we noticed throughout the day. There was the Sydney form just clearly came down and just put a hole in some of that Sandown form and otherwise Melbourne Metropolitan form. So, look, Crossbow, really nice type. I mean, that almost just looked like a barrier trial for something like a Carbine Club Stakes later in the year, didn't it? So,
it certainly did.
That horse has just got big flashing lights all over it. Still yet to see anything near a ceiling from what I can tell. So you can obviously follow that horse wherever it goes, but I'd be anticipating they now tip that horse out for a little breather and we see that horse in towards the spring.
Any other horses that caught your eye? Anything we could follow with a bit of confidence into the early spring, or are they all pretty much found their mark, Pete?
I thought the Parade of Miss Aria was particularly good there in race 7, had excuses there behind King of Rousseau, was badly held up and then only sort of downed again over the last couple of 100 metres when getting some clear air. And I thought at odds, maybe not next start, but maybe a few starts to go, race 3, Bizo, look, it isn't going to necessarily flag anyone's attention, sort of, worse in midfield, finishing position 5.9 lengths off them, but I thought that was a nice parade for a horse that just produced an okay bit of work there late in the piece over the last 200 metres. So that's one that we might be able to get at odds in the next couple of starts, Bizo.
Beautiful. Love your work, Pete. Pete Anthony from the Mailbag. Appreciate your time on a Monday morning. No doubt we'll chat to you later on in the week.
Sounds good, Gannon.
There he is, Pete Anthony. We'll take a break. We're going to catch up with Zach Tunbridge from Bet365, Butch Castles, Bag of Tips, and we'll catch up with Wayne Hawkes. He's in the studio. He's made his way in after the break.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. 4th of August 2025, Zachy Tunbridge for Bet365. I welcome you. G'day, mate.
Morning, Gannon. It's nice to see you in the chair, mate. I probably should have popped down. You're only around the corner.
Mate, you still got plenty of time to pop in. You bring us a croissant, maybe a coffee. Long black will be great. But, mate, you have plenty because the top 4 multi got up, and no doubt you would have been a part of that.
Yeah, look, I'm happy that the boys got up. There was one scratching there. To be honest, they probably should have taken the win because Lose Some Win More, Zoo Sensation, Periol, they all won, and we ended up going top 4. So, look, it wasn't the biggest odds.
It's always the way. It's always the way. Maybe you should make that an option if you want to go all wins in a top 4 as well. That'll really make sure the traders are happy with you.
Hey, it's a collect. We want the boys to keep collecting. It's nice.
Yeah, certainly do. Hey, the 6-horse challenge, there was just over 9,000, nearly 10,000 entries to a big go there. Only 4 out of 6 were able to get the job done. I should say only 15 chose 4 out of 6 winners there, Zach, on what was a pretty tough day.
Yeah, look, it's tough. And look, this is a no-brainer for anyone that is a customer. You should just be entering this because the customer did win this 2 weeks ago and got 50 grand. And this will go up to 100 throughout spring as well. So on Saturdays after scratchings, just enter your selections and have a crack. Obviously, it was a bit hard at Rosehill with the track going. Elson-Boy at 12s, Ravenflaw at 12s. But like you said, 15 customers got 4 from 6. They get $333 in their account free of charge. So look, I wouldn't have been one of them. I wouldn't have picked them. But the fact that Too Darn Discreet ended up jumping at 12s and jumped at $29 or something. But yeah, good day.
Unbelievable stuff, that. The Darwin Cup day, but the Bet365 Palmerston Sprint Race 7, there was plenty of interest in Baldino. Opened up $6.50, bottomed out at $3. Talk to me about that race.
Yeah, it did. There was a lot of movement in the Palmerston Sprint. Yeah, Baldino did open 653s. Unplaced Hello World had pretty early support too. It was 16s into about 5s. But Early Crow was the one, 26s into 12. Speaking of Darwin, it's obviously Cup Day. Top Toe Plus is available today. Please take advantage if you're doing exotics and quaddies and all that. You'll get the best of the 3 national totes. No-brainer when you're doing exotics. Should be a good day at Darwin today.
Certainly is. We'll catch up with Miles Fitzner at the back end of the means test, Johnny O'Neill. So no doubt they've done a full card preview for us. So they'll have some best bets for us. And the Ori Star handicap down there, the Group 3. Zachy, there was plenty of betting movements.
King of Rousseau was pretty impressive, hey? So, look, plenty of support late in the thing. Joyful Fortune was one at odds that they had a little bit for. She dances as well, but King of Rousseau touched $5 just before and ended up jumping at about $3.40. So look, was pretty well supported. Good day there. Speaking of Darwin, I can tell you, I'll just go to the Cup and tell you the one that's best back so far, and that is Motor Race. That was an early bet. We took very quick early bets there at $3.20. It's now $2.60. Hadouken getting some support, and one at odds that I will mention is a wash for Gary Clark. Obviously, he's got a couple of horses in it, 16s into 10s just this morning.
Beautiful. Love your work, Zachy. Look forward to getting amongst the trying to go the 6-horse challenge next Saturday, mate. But we'll catch up with you throughout the week. Appreciate your time.
Beautiful. Good work, mate. I might pop in tomorrow. Come see ya.
Look forward to it. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead for free and confidential support. Visit Gambling Help online. Butch Castles, good morning to you.
G'day, Mick. How you doing?
Doing well, mate. Doing well. Chase leads home North Island trifecta in the Winter Cup there over in New Zealand, mate. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, look, he's a 9-year-old Chase. He was really well ridden by Tina Komanyahi. She saved ground up on the inside of those that wanted to get out to centre track, but North Island dominated. In fact, the Central Districts dominated. They went to Riccarton and ran 1, 2, 3 in the Winter Cup. It's a great story, Chase. He's trained by Stephen Nichols, who doesn't have too many in work. And look, he's been there and thereabouts in a number of our better races for a long period of time and got his due rewards on Saturday in the Winter Cup.
Jesco stamps himself as the most exciting jumper in NZ. Tough win there.
Yeah, he does. He's a super jumper. He looked momentarily like he might have been in a little bit of trouble, but I think that was Sean Fannin just being kind to him once he got over the last. He put in a good leap and he ran away really, and up in distance on this coming Saturday for the Grand National won't be a problem on what we saw on Saturday. He's an exciting chaser. He measures his fences particularly well. He's pretty nimble out of them as well. Not a big horse. He seems to be able to just get out of any issues that might come about. He's a really, really good chaser, and he'll go round as a $1.50 favourite in the Grand National on Saturday. Look, West Coast will be there. He was good in running third with the big weight. But
we'll just go over to take a break. We'll carry over to you after the break if you don't mind.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. LoveRacing.nz, your home of New Zealand thoroughbred racing news, previews, reviews, profiles and more. Butch Castles, thanks for holding over the news, mate.
No worries. We're talking about Jesco, and in fact, he's going to be a dominant favourite in the Grand National this coming Saturday out of Rickett. And West Coast, the champion jumper, will be there, but it's going to take plenty for him to turn it around on what we saw Saturday.
Yeah, certainly was. And Dictation, good to see him bounce back in the Sydenham Hurdle.
Yeah, it was. Last year he had it all in front of him and fell at the last fence. This time he's a much better jumper this year. He was dominant in winning the Waikato hurdle a few starts ago. He was really good in winning the Sydenham, and he'll take all sorts of beating when they come to the Grand National hurdle this coming Saturday.
You're a good man, Butch. Thank you very much. We'll catch up with you on Wednesday. Hopefully you can have a few horses for us to follow into the spring. That's Butch Castles. Thank you. We'll be back after the news.
Powered by Signet. Good morning, I'm Adam Pont with SEN News. Australia has pledged an extra $20 million in aid for war-torn Gaza after protests across the country. Thousands marched through Melbourne yesterday, while over 90,000 shut down the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Labor MP Ed Husick has told Nine the rallies send a powerful message.
I think the red line for a lot of people has been seeing kids being starved. They want that to stop, and they want to be able to send a signal that this is not on, that they're totally opposed to it. They want something done about it.
Lynn McGranger has gone out with a bang. The 72-year-old is retiring after playing Irene on Home and Away for 33 years, and last night received a fitting farewell.
And the gold logie goes to Lynn McGranger.
Comedian and actor Magnus Vansky was inducted into the Hall of Fame, while Unbreakable, the Yelena Dokic story, won Best Documentary. Well, beer drinkers will be celebrating today. Drafts have been spared the twice-a-year tax hike, an election pledge from Anthony Albanese. Spirits haven't been spared, however, and will be going up from today. A man in his 40s has died after falling from the upper tier during an Oasis concert at Wembley Stadium. The band says they are shocked and saddened by the incident, which happened partway through the show. The highest stands in the 90,000-seat venue are 50 metres above the ground. sen.com.au sport is coming up next. More gold for Australia on the final night of the Swimming World Aquatic Championships in Singapore. Meg Harris burning the field in the 50-metre freestyle.
This is unbelievable by Meg Harris. She's powering away with it. Can she hang on? It's going to be close in the end. Meg's got a gold medal all of her own. She's finally done it.
That's the call on 9. We finished second behind the US.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall. The Giddy Up Bag of Tips for Oz Equipment Rentals. Supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com.
With Bet365 Tote Plus, you'll get the best payout across all three national totes. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Bag of Tips brought to you by the Ultimo Hotel in the heart of the Mallee, just down the road from Swan Hill. Swing by for a cold beer. And Oz Equipment Rentals, supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industry. OzEquipment.com. Mitchy Lewis, his best bets there at Ballarat Race 1. Number 7, Olatunda. Race 7, number 2, Absolute Sunshine. Luke Hovernessian from the GreatTipOff.com. Wagga. Race 6, number 4, Tolook. Race 7, number 1, Philadelphia Storm. Harness Racing New South Wales, the home of the Carnival of Cups, where Australia music royalty meets quality harness racing action. And Amanda Rando, her best bets from Nangle. Race 7, number 1, Classic Mission. Race 8, number 10, El Clemmer. And we'll head to Terang for Darren Carroll. And he's with Race 1, number 10, Hungry Hoggath. Race 3, number 6, Kayang Shadow Box. That is Bag of Tips. And now it's time for this.
The Monday Means Test with Wayne Hawkes and John O'Neill.
Good morning, Wayne Hawkes.
Mickey Gannon, how are you?
Yeah, good. Good to be here. Good to have you in studio.
Well, it's first time I've been to the Sydney studio, so you do it quite well up here, you lot. I'll tell you.
We don't miss. Speaking of not missing, Monday Means Test brought to you by Coolmore Australia, the home of champions, and you can enjoy an amazing $20 Palmer special Wednesdays at the Osborne at South Yarra. Wayno, there you go.
I didn't go to Coolmore, but I've just been up the Hunter Valley.
How was it?
Wow, oh, wow. It was great to see the horses.
Yep.
I'll get to that in a second, but the rain that has happened in New South Wales has been
relentless,
extraordinary, and you go back and you look at last Saturday at Flemington, you are in the deep, deep part, excuse me, of winter. We're running on a good fall.
Yeah, remarkable.
And Sandown was a 5, you know what I mean? So it was quite amazing, but it was great to get to the Hunter Valley.
Would have been looking at yearlings. What were we looking
at? Yeah, they've just turned 1, so I was looking at a couple of brood mares, deciding whether we send one mare to stud or just give her a year off.
Okay.
So yeah, so
what goes into a decision like that?
The age of the mare. Look at the mare. Excuse me. Look at the mare. Look at her feet.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, brood mares are about 2 things in theory. If they're in foal, you don't need to worry whether it's actually working or not internally because they're in foal. The other thing is their feet. So because they're standing on their feet all the time, and then you when they're pregnant, they're obviously getting heavier and heavier. You do want a mare with good feet. So I looked at a couple of mares, a couple of yearlings, and then went and had to sneak into the Stallion Barn at Vinery and just do a bit of reminiscing. And
oh yeah.
Went and saw
Talk us through that. Who'd you see?
I only went and saw 2 of them, so don't tell Headwater and Star Turn and Exceedance that I didn't go and give them any love. But I went. Michael went with me, and we got a picture of the first season champion 2-year-old stallion in Ole Kirk.
Lovely.
And he was in fine form, having a little nip and a bite, the bugger. So
good.
He was great. Then I just couldn't help myself but go around and see the Star.
Yep.
And that was one of the greatest horses I've ever put a saddle on. That was all too hard. He
good.
was an exceptional horse, and he looks fantastic. It's one thing about those big bull stallions. Gee, they look so well, but it's amazing. There's so much rain around, and it'll be a beautiful spring. Then summertime, they'll probably be fighting bushfires up there.
It's quite incredible, and in Sydney, all the tracks are going to be heavy for the next few weeks. So we'll have a chat about that. Actually, be interesting to see as a trainer, from a trainer's perspective, what you do there in regards to programming and avoiding rain-affected tracks. But 0499 736 736 on the text line.
And if anyone hasn't been to the Hunter Valley to go and look at some of these stallions, the Stallion Parade is like 2 weekends' time, and it's open to the members of the public. If you ever thought about going, get there or be square, because to go and see these ex-race horses, the So You Thinks and some of the greatest horses that we've ever seen, have a bridle on in Australian racing. you're seeing them, and then you're seeing some of the imports, some of the great horses from around the world. It's just it's jaw dropping. You know what it's like? It's like out of Toys R Us with a $500 voucher when you're a kid. You didn't know where to look first and where to start first.
So good.
Get to the Hunter Valley.
Yeah, Gareth and I went up to Coolmore last year, and we got a tour of the facility, so that was good. Good to see what was going on up there. And as you said, some of the you forget about the quality of horse that's up there. So if you can manage to get some time off and head up there. And when is it, Wayno? When?
I think it's two weekends time, but they'll have it advertised everywhere. But all the studs are it's all an open day for all of the studs from like about Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they're very, very accommodating. So
unreal.
If you're thinking about doing it, get up there. And Coolmore will. How would I describe Coolmore? Disneyland. Disneyland for breeding people. The front driveway. Have you ever seen anything like that driveway?
It's
into
phenomenal. It's like driving into an elite private golf course. What was the course that Lloyd had down in Melbourne?
Capital.
It's like driving into the Capital.
So it's either going to an elite golf course or it's going to the best botanical gardens you've ever seen, and the manicured gardens and the
and it goes on forever.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Coolmore driveway is as good a driveway as I've seen of any.
It's almost as worth the 2-hour drive up there just
100%.
to have a little drive up the driveway. You would get lost. 0499 736 736. Let us know your yes, your oh no. Should we wait for Johnny O'Neill, or should we get to those before we get Johnny on? Because
we'll have a think about it.
He and Miles, they would.
Johnny will have one for sure. No, we probably should wait.
We'll wait for him.
Johnny, it was actually Johnny's segment.
Was it really?
He was the original oh no starter upperer.
Right.
And he threw a few of them under the bus the first few weeks. A few of the jockeys were not happy.
I do remember.
And, the best one. He's not here now. The best one was when he got a phone call from Racing Victoria, and he kept missing the guy, and the guy was back and forth. This is a true story, and no one knows this, right?
It's good.
So what happens is they kept missing each other. What do you call it? Telstra tag team. You just keep missing each other. Finally, Johnny O'Neill got on this guy, and he said, "So anyway, Rob, what do you do?" And he said, "I'm the chief steward." We just need to tone it down just a little bit, old mate. So Johnny's live from Darwin, so.
Love that. Well, just a news update here from Miles Fitzner. Apparently, Johnny's not available. Another board meeting, perhaps, and Milo is available. So Milo's been swimming up there with the Crocs as well. So he'll be no doubt fit as a fiddle, ready to go. 0499 736 736. What we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of crystal balling. We're going to look forward to the new racing season. I won't ask you to comment on anyone else's horses, Wayno, but maybe a couple of your horses you can talk about, and I'll have a little look forward to a few horses that I'm keen on as well. But before we do that, I'm going to take you through a few of my best performances of what was the Autumn Carnival. We're going to look back. I'm going to look back at what was the Oakley Plate.
Further back is I Am Me, and then She's Bulletproof. Arabian Summer went to the front, 150 metres to go. Ray Magnerio and She's Bulletproof, and Jimmy Star are coming hard. She's Bulletproof, and Jimmy over the top has dropped from the sky to win from She's Bulletproof, and then
arguably the making of that horse, Jimmy Star. I don't think many of us had it penned as a sprinter, but that Oakley Plate win was dominant. And since then, he's just gone on to bigger and better things.
Well, the form stacks up, doesn't it? He obviously went to Sydney and ran in the TJ, and all those horses that ran in the top 4 or 5 in the TJ were the Everest compatriots, and then obviously went on to the the All Age, and then he just got beaten there. So he's certainly Kieran Mars. I would think he'd be his best horse that he trains, and if he can come back and improve a little bit, and you say, well, what would he be? He'd be 5 or 6 years of age now. But the bottom line is, he definitely did improve from the spring to the autumn, and it's about maturity with some of these horses. And I've said it time and time again. Some of these horses, you just need to take their whole 2-year-old career out or their whole 3-year-old career out. And even though they've got a number next to their name saying they're 5 or 6, quite often they're actually like the old-fashioned 4-year-olds.
Yep. And he's only had 18 career starts.
Been very, very well looked after, and he is a serious chance in the Everest. And
huge chance.
We keep talking about the Everest for about 30 weeks of the year, leading up from 31 weeks out.
Yep.
We talk about the Everest for about 50 weeks, the 52 weeks of the year.
Don't we ever?
Except around Cox Plate and that, Caulfield Cup and Melbourne Cup. But the Everest is going to be some race this year. There's no doubt about that.
You have Briasa locked into the Everest.
Yep.
Anything else?
Right.
With a chance to win there, or any of the 2 now 3-year-olds?
I wouldn't think Devil Knight, but the bottom line is it's always an interesting time when you are going from your 2-year-old careers to your 3-year-old careers, because It's for the older people listening. It's the under 17s.
For the best of country racing action in the Territory, you can't beat the Ladbrokes Catherine Cup. Friendly locals mix with visitors from far and wide, all descending on Catherine for an unmissable, relaxed race day. Haven't been? It's a bucket list occasion. A relaxing race day on August 16. Just 3 hours down the Stewart Highway, the locals know how to put on a show and everyone's welcome. Let your hair down after 6 grueling weeks of racing in Darwin. Don't miss the Ladbrokes Catherine Cup.
So, it's
just 3 hours down the Stewart Highway.
The bottom line is
just 3 hours down the Stewart Highway. The locals know how to put on a show, and everyone's welcome. Let your hair down after 6 grueling weeks of racing in Darwin.
The under 19 straight to the open age and into the deep end of the pool.
For the best of country racing action in the Territory, you can't beat the Ladbrokes Catherine Cup. Friendly locals mix with visitors from far and wide, all descending on Catherine for an unmissable, relaxed race day. Haven't been? It's a bucket list occasion. A relaxing race day on August 16. Just 3 hours down the Stewart Highway, the locals know how to put on a show and everyone's welcome. Let your hair down after 6 grueling weeks of racing in Darwin. Don't miss the Ladbrokes Catherine Cup.
In the modern era, and I know that's a long, but having two elite, you always see one, but having two of the same year, gee, there's going to be some, maybe Waller's is more of a 1.5 mile horse, and the other one might be a 2000, but it'd be great if they could clash a couple of times during the spring, but most 3-year-olds turning 4 do not make the grade to the big level.
Yeah, you're spot on there. It'll be interesting to see how they do handle it. Speaking of 2-year-olds, from a ratings perspective, probably not the best crop of 2-year-olds, but do you expect that gap to close now as they go to 3? Do you think they're going
August at Bunbury Mazda.
And one of the biggest things is
August at Bunbury
Michael
Mazda.
Sent me a tweet.
August at Bunbury Mazda is all about great deals and a deal.
No. Couple of reds and whites.
August at Bunbury Mazda is all about great deals and bonuses, with already great drive-away deals on top-of-the-range BT50 SP, now from $67,990 drive-away, and the 4x4 dual-cab BT50 XT from $54,990 drive-away, and this month only, a bonus $1,000 worth of accessories on all BT50s purchased. Huge stock levels. Drive yours away today. Ends August 31. T's and C's and... wait a minute. Ends August 31. T's and C's and exclusions apply. Bonuses and driveway deals at Bunbury Mazda. DL 18134. If this one's going to fit. August at Bunbury Mazda is all about great deals and bonuses, with already great drive-away deals on top-of-the-range BT50 SP, now from $67,990 drive-away, and the 4x4 dual-cab BT50 XT from $54,990 drive-away, and this month only, a bonus $1,000 worth of accessories on all BT50s purchased. Huge stock levels. Drive yours away today. Ends August 31. T's and C's and exclusions apply. Bonuses and drive-away deals at Bunbury Mazda. Bonuses and drive-away deals at Bunbury Mazda. DL 18134.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
And state visits winding up. Nepotism's got it all to do. Spicy Lou, she's shooting for 4 in a row. And Spicy Lou takes the lead in the Champagne, but Tupacar is pouncing. Nepotism's winding up with a big run on the outside and within the law. Nepotism within the law. Here we go. Nepotism from last. Nepotism nosed out within the law.
So be interesting to see how he handles the really wet track, because there was a huge big puddle of water. Nepotism just stood there and just was pouring at the puddle and just just loved it. But yeah, look, it was a great performance, and look, I think it was the best 2-year-old performance of the year.
Beautiful.
Nationally, I don't know whether we could find a better 2-year-old winner than that horse, and that's just not a Group 1 grade. I'm talking about any grade. I mean, to sit back last and to go around the whole field, and
only good horses do that.
Haven't mentioned the Grey Flash's name for a while, but I mean that's what he people love me not saying that. But the bottom line is that was his sort of performance. I mean, it was last to first, and he was going absolutely nowhere, and our other stablemate Federalist was not helping him, because Federalist should have got going out wide, and he would have run home and run better, and was sort of in theory was holding up Nepotism, but big spring ahead, and obviously that's what you're looking at, your 2-year-olds turning 3 and how they're going to go. Are they the best lot of 2-year-olds? Well, every year people quite often say no, they're not.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was just referencing All Too Hard earlier. I mean, All Too Hard and Piero were 2 of the greatest 3-year-olds that we've seen in the modern era, and you know, to find those sort of horses of that's rare air. But why the 2-year-olds are? The end of February 2025, we had 750 runners, 748 to be exact, nationally.
Yep.
25 years ago was 1,500.
Yeah,
it was
wow.
exactly double. So you've only got half the amount of 2-year-olds that are running around now than what we were 25 years ago, and that's a fact. So it's rare air to get these 2-year-olds up and cracking. So the question you asked was, you know, will we see some better 2-year-olds now turn 3 come out? Yeah, we will, because there'll be some at home that go really, really good, and they're actually now just catching up. Because, as I said, just look at that statistic, 50% we're down in 25 years.
Why is that? Is it the way that we're breeding our horses, or is it just that there's the prize money, there's enough incentive to hold on for the 3, 4 and 5-year-old sort of
No, it's not.
seasons?
No, it's not prize money, because at the end of the day, people, if they have it, everyone loves a 2-year-old. It'd be very rare for people. Then there are people that say, I'm not interested, I'm happy to sit and wait, I don't want to push. But to get a 2-year-old up and cracking, to win the Golden Slipper, that is one hell of a race. And it'll be 3 months after the Slipper is run and won, and people will still be walking up to you, congratulating you for the Slipper. So,
how many Slippers have you won?
Personally, a couple. The old boys.
Do you remember their names?
Esther Jarb and
I'm glad you remember that, because
I always forget her name.
That's the one that you forget.
I always forget her name, and now the other one of Emirates. What was the other one of Emirates? Went up the fence.
Moss Fun?
Moss Fun.
Yep.
There you go. I've done a
Yeah.
complete reversal.
That's
I could never remember Esther Jarb's
Must be
name,
difficult remembering all the Group 1 victories.
Oh, yeah, whatever. They got me last week when
Did they?
Miles said, have you had much success in the Everest? And I forgot about Mars Crusader.
Oh, Miles wouldn't
Flying
have let you
from
forget about that one, though.
because he backed it.
Yeah.
He backed Mars Crusader. So
he certainly did.
Yes, I think it's the age thing where you're getting older and you tend to forget. And I mean, if you think about that,
Know about it well.
in the racing industry. I mean, we are very quick to forget.
Yes,
We
aren't
don't-
we?
we don't
Well, that's what I was
mention
saying.
Mackay.
Going back to Coolmore and seeing those horses, you just think, oh, like wow, the next run just come through, and they come through, and you're very quick to forget those champions. Now, 0499 736 736. The text messages are coming in regards to Crystal Ball. We'll get to those later on. But Wayno, there is a text here so asking what your thoughts are on the owners moving Benedetta to Kieran Thoughts on that?
Don't know. I'm as far as I don't know what happened.
Yep.
So whether there was whether they just wanted to change As Good as a Holiday because she hasn't been winning, or whether there was something that went on untowards, I'm not all over it. But it's never easy when you're a smaller stable because you've got the people that then go, oh, they're doing a good enough job. And it's funny, you don't get much help in the middle of winter on a Wednesday morning. This morning there was no one there at Rose Hill offering any advice. And once these beasts start winning, people pick up a racing calendar and certainly want to help you because it's their hobby. It's not their job. And you never tell a plumber what to do or an electrician what to do. But I suppose that's very practical in theory. Whereas what we do in the industry, the worst trainer can get the best result out of the best horse. So it's as simple as that. And you can make a lot of mistakes, and sometimes you won't even know whether you've made a mistake until till way after. But look, horses do move around, and if you look at the football analogy, whether it's rugby or AFL, I reckon more players should be traded because I think that they can get stale in the one spot and everything like that. And from my personal point of view, that's why I love having the couple of stables that you can keep flicking them from one stable to the other, and change As Good as a Holiday. But
especially the old geldings, like you move them from one stable to another,
correct.
They can generally get back to their own their old form pretty quickly.
Correct, exactly right. Well, you know what? If you go in the office doing the same thing day in day out, it's never ever easy. But it always looks a bit average when you have a horse with a smaller trainer going to one of the big guys. That always people quite often go, oh, yeah, whatever. But you know what? At the end of the day, I mean, you can say the trainer's pinched him. Well, the truth of the matter is, it's up to the owner because at the end of the day, it's
paying
the
the bills.
It's the owner that decides where they're going to go, not the trainer.
As owners, we love giving advice on where the horse should go, but we
Advice
do pay the
is
bills.
for free,
yes.
and everyone loves giving it.
Yes, spot on. The text line here from Buster. Congratulations, Mick. You're the first one to pronounce Perret correct. That's Perel, but Perret. That's good. Thanks, Buster, for the text here. Crystal Ball from Damo. Autumn Glow remains unbeaten with an Epsom win in there. That's from Damo. That's probably the best Crystal Ball I've seen so far. The Mazda ads over the live feed. That's just a bit of something extra.
Do we have like we talk about the 2-year-olds, and you said before how there's obviously going to be some that are going to improve, but I reckon this spring we are going to see some proper kick-ass stuff this year.
I think so
because where you've got a lot, we know the great top liners, but I reckon there's a real lot of fatness. It's a bad analogy, but you get my point. There's a lot of fatness right behind the top level horses, and there are going to be some good horses. Like you look at that filly of Godolphin's Tempted. I mean, she'd be the best 2-year-old filly for mine to come out of the autumn, and if she can go and do a job, you got the Autumn Glows and those sort of horses. I mean, they're. We've got some great 3-year-olds that are now just turned 4, and some of those horses are going to stamp themselves. And the Via Sistinas aren't going to come back and get any better. They've got to hold their own.
Exactly.
And I reckon the Via Sistinas are going to have the biggest, hardest push against them this spring with the new lot of horses coming through. And our old favourite Cheer Wolf probably didn't quite come up as good as what we thought he might. There's no reason why after a good fat spell that he can't come back, because think about this, from the spring to the autumn, that's Sydney racing. When you race when you race Melbourne Cup Week and then you're back ready to go at Caulfield, Flemington in the autumn. It ain't autumn, it's summer.
Yeah.
So there's not a long time to have a break, but the break happens over winter, and your horses can have a really good long spell and cool their jets and get bigger, better, stronger. So I reckon we're going to be flush with some really good horses at the top end. And do we need it? Absolutely we do.
Yeah, we certainly do. 0499 736 736. Keep sending in your crystal balls. Nice little segue into mine there. One of mine, I've got about 4 or 5. Charwolf, I think that he'll win a Group 1 in the spring.
I love this horse. This time last year, I thought he was the horse that was going to come through and really push Via Sistina's buttons. And not that he went bad and he went terrible. He didn't. He was racing really, really good. But he just didn't nail one. It's as simple as that.
And he had a mixed preparation, though, right? So there was I think there might have been an incident Saturday morning before his first up run. That sort of put the preparation into a bit of turmoil. And you'd know better than anyone. When that happens, you might go 12-12 and you wanted to go 12-14, and then all of a sudden you're on the back foot from the start of a preparation. And as you said, it's that autumn preparation versus a spring. I think Joe will be focused to get it right this time. Not that he got it wrong, but it's all got to come together for you, doesn't it?
Last spring he won the King Charles,
yeah,
didn't he?
It's a good horse.
So, I think he's a top liner. And yeah, did he... For mine, did he measure up to where he was? No, I don't think he did. But as you said, he had a few excuses, and it'll be his. It's going to be his time. There's no doubt about that. Because if he can't come and do a proper job this spring, well, this is going to be another one that's probably going to end up going by the wayside, and the old what could have been.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the means test. Aidan O'Brien's best ever racehorse, City of Troy, new at Coolmore, Australia in 2025. We'll take the news. We're back with more crystal balls. Oh, no, and yes, yes, yes.
Powered by Signet, making SEN news this hour. A sea of pro-Palestinian supporters has flooded across the Sydney Harbour Bridge yesterday after the rally was given the green light by the courts. Over 90,000 involved, including some notable human rights activists such as Julian Assange and Craig Foster. Lynn McGranger has gone out with a bang, the 72-year-old retiring after playing Irene on home and away for 33 years, and last night received the Gold Logie. A search resuming today for a 26-year-old woman swept away in floodwaters in the New South Wales Hunter Valley region on Saturday, and a light plane has gone missing after travelling across Bass Strait on the weekend. Sports next. More gold for Australia on the final night of the Swimming World Aquatic Championships in Singapore. Meg Harris burning the field in the 50-metre freestyle.
This is unbelievable by Meg Harris. She's powering away with it. Can she hang on? It's going to be close in the end. Meg's got a gold medal all of her own. She's finally done it.
That's the call on 9. We finished second behind the US.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Yes, 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 yes.
Welcome back to the Means Test. Mick, Gannon, Wayne Hawks with you live in the Sydney studio, Wayne. It's good. It's a good little setup here. Don't mind it at all.
It's great.
Yes, yes, yeses. You want to kick us off for the week?
It's August.
Yep.
And that is a massive yes, yes, yes. And there's two reasons for that. One is the spring carnival's here. Winter is nearly behind us. We're, 2/3 of the way through winter. But the good horses are up and about. They're all trialling. They're not racing yet, but it gets people up and about. And the, as I said off the top, going up to the Hunter Valley, the foals are going to start to be born. So all of a sudden, some of those great racehorses are going to have some great foals, and some of the, some of the brood mares are, having their first foal and things like that. And But I like looking at the new stallions, the Shinzos and those sort of horses that were, really good race horses, and all of a sudden they got foals running around on the ground, and it's exciting times. And there's only one thing about it, though. I've never seen a new stallion having his first foals on the ground and people go, it's crap. They're the greatest, best things since old mate was at the maternity ward at the hospital watching his own son or daughter through that two-way mirror. But breeding season's there, so those foals going to be born now, and they're our lifeblood of the future. So August, it's big ticks.
Absolutely. My yes goes to Anna Roper, a young jockey who's riding in career best form. She's had plenty of injuries certain plagued her career, I should say, Wayno, and she's just riding in great fashion. And look, she rides these front runners as good as anybody. Yes, the 2 kilo claim helps, but she's just flying.
Still got to do the job though, and consistently she's been riding. I don't know what the stats are, but I would think in the last 8 weeks, statistically, she'd be riding a winner or two every Wednesday and every Saturday. You know what I mean? She's done an amazing job, this girl, and she's a lovely, lovely, beautiful young girl.
Yeah,
that's just such. She's got a great smile and just happy to be around. She's a really nice girl, and as I think what you said is spot on. She front-running jockey. She just gets out there in front, and they don't go hard for her. They relax and they settle, and very Jamie Carr-like when Jamie first moved to Melbourne. Horses run for them.
Yep.
It's as simple as that, and Anna's done an amazing job. Albeit the quality's going to get stronger now, and it won't be, won't be Anna's time to shine, but she's making a big fist of it over winter.
We did see J-Mac back, and many of the good jockeys are back, and she still managed to ride a double. Her last 50 rides, she's had 8 winners, so she's striking at 16%. That's as good as anyone can go, other than the great J-Mac.
Blake Shin.
Lucky Johnny's not here. Yeah, Blake Shin.
Blake Shin finished at 18%.
There you go. Those
25% in the bush last season.
Unbelievable.
So Anna Roper doesn't have truth. Anna doesn't have their ability yet.
Not yet.
And
nor does she get the rides.
And she may not either, because we're talking about 2 of the greats.
Yes.
So there's very few people going to be in that rare air, but she is doing an amazing job, this girl. And as I said, the best thing I like watching her is that she gets the horse to settle and relax, and she's in no rush. She's not in a hurry. She sits and waits. And one of the biggest things kids often do is they just the old-fashioned line, they take off before acceptances.
Yes.
She half waits 1 and 2 and 3 and then goes, and it is a game of inches. Horses are not winning by 10 lengths, so to be a little bit more patient and to wait. And the other thing is when you're on wet tracks, and for the people that, and especially the jockeys, you got to go and watch people like J-Mac, because he rides wet tracks amazingly well. And one thing he does do, or 2 things he does well, he keeps them balanced, number 1, and he's not vigorous on them. He really keeps them balanced. He doesn't use the persuader much.
Yep.
He just helps them through the ground, because they're either going to love it or they're not going to love it. And you see people just, get them off the bit, come in the corner, and you see that on dry tracks, but on wet tracks, it's more concerning that they do this, because they just get off the bit so much easier. And
Jason Collett did a good, put a great ride in on Cold Brew, sat 3 wide, no cover on speed at Rose Hill, and is exactly what
do you
you're
know what
talking
part
about.
of it would be?
Yeah,
Jay Collett's a Kiwi.
Yeah,
J-Mac is a Kiwi.
Yeah, absolutely,
and
growing up on it.
100%, because they said, Max Verstappen, why do you like driving in the rain? He said, well, I don't.
Yeah.
But he said, as a kid, everyone would want to come in. He said, my old man was saying, get out there on the wet and keep going. I was watching an interview on him one day.
That's great.
And he just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. So the track at Rose Hill on Saturday was like what the Kiwis put up with for 4 or 5 months of the year. So they're bottomless. They're not heavy tens. They are completely bottomless.
Yeah.
And to be fair, if they had called the meeting off, you would have said, well, probably fair enough. I mean, Wyong was off on Sunday, and
I was surprised they got through the meeting.
Well, I actually
Very
was
surprised.
too. But what probably helped them was it did eventually stop.
Yep, certainly did. Get your own nose in. We'll get to that after a break. And then, obviously, Wayno, if you're down in Melbourne, you can enjoy a mouth-watering $25 Sunday roast. Sundays at the Osborne, South Yarra. We'll be back with your own nose after the break.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Na, na, na. Oh no, see you walking around like it's Moses' funeral.
This is the Maidens Test brought to you by Coolmore, Australia's home of champions. And of course, enjoy happy hour food specials and the footy Fridays at the Osborne South Yarra. Oh no, Wayno, I'm going to kick us off. This is a Joy No. You'll be able to make some comments on this one. Listening to the radio very early, about 6:30, my man Louis Willoughby was interviewing the track curator at Rose Hill, and the suggestion was that the track was going up a heavy 9. But Andrew Atkins had just come off the track riding 1 and said it was a 10. But they were happy to put up a 9. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's always a hard one, isn't it? Because you're going, well, Andrew Adkins would know because he's out there riding on the track. And when I was a kid, what used to happen was between races, the stewards would put on their galoshes and they'd put on their dryers of bone, they'd walk up the top of the straight, and we'd see that famous vision, and Craig Williams would be bending down, picking up potholes and poking with umbrellas. And now they don't really do that. They'll walk it beforehand, but during the race they'll ask the jockeys. So the jockey get a bit annoyed sometimes when the stewards ask them and then they don't do what the jockeys say. The bottom line is this. Are the ratings right? No, they are not.
No.
I want good, soft, yielding is the dead. Let's get rid of the word dead. Use what they do in Europe. Good, what is it? Fast, good, yielding, soft, heavy.
Yeah.
And then, because the thing is, right, I always reference this one. Fumicino he won an AJC Derby on a heavy track. He came back and he got beaten in the Ranvet and ran terrible. And then he won the BMW 2 weeks later, and it was my first Group 1 winner. So if they were both wet tracks and they were both heavy 8s, but just because it says heavy and it's a number, that doesn't reference, put it this way, last Saturday at Rose Hill was a heavy 10. Might have been a heavy 10 at Randwick, but a completely different surface that you're running on. So I don't know whether the going stick's the right way that we should probably look at it, but I just don't like, well, put it this way, there'd be less pressure on everyone when you go Saturday morning, it's heavy.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah, fair.
And then you ring up and you go,
Well,
how
Freddie
much
could have
rain
told you that was a heavy 11, though. At 6 o'clock, we had that much rain.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And it did ease, and then they put up the track rating about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then at 8:30 they came back and said it was a heavy 10. But that's the problem, and it's not easy for stewards, but I would rather mirror on the side of make it seem a bit worse, but whether they don't for punting reasons, I'm not
Are they
sure.
doing it? This is a simple question. Are they doing it to ensure that trainers will leave their horse in because they don't believe it's a bottomless? Is there any intent, or is it just they purely believed it's a 9 and that's
that's always been the thought process. But I mean, Rob Montgomery in Melbourne, Steve Roughton's just stepped down as chief. I mean, they're not ordinary blokes. They're not out there trying to do the wrong thing. They are the most genuine, straightest stewards. Those two would be two of the greatest stewards I've ever worked with, and they, their agenda is to do the right thing by everybody, and they're very approachable stewards. So, but it gets frustrating when this does happen. But the bottom line is, Mick, let's be honest. The only difference would have been maybe one scratching, maybe. But the bottom line is, if we just had the 4 individual ratings of good, yielding, soft, heavy, whether it's an 8 or whether it's a 12, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just
the
heavy.
Numbers don't work. They just don't.
Well, they don't work because we saw a soft 6 and it raced like an 8 2 weeks before. But I think
do you know what the other one is quickly? The one that really annoys me. They go, oh, no. But the times, look at the times they ran on that. It's only soft, it's not heavy. You're going, yeah. Well, that's okay for the winner to run those times, but go and explain that to 14 other people that have got their butts
margins
kicked.
4, 6, 8, and
Correct.
10 back to last.
And they always love running on times, but that's not necessarily the go, because when you look at the great horses, Winks, I remember Glenn Schofield come in one day after a George Ryder, and he said, what was amazing? He said, I was behind Winks, and it was pitter-patter, and no kickback came from her.
Yeah.
She was just flying over the top of the ground. So some love it and some don't. Stop with the numbers. That's the biggest thing. Just call it heavy and shut up.
Yeah, don't mind that. I think they're rating them to their best, and they're not worrying about the rest of the surface. So the driest bit, might be a 9, but the rest of it's a 10.
Yeah, but it's potato. So just get rid of the numbers, call it a heavy, and then it wouldn't matter.
Love it. As we welcome in, speaking of potato, Miles Fitzner.
Speaking of potatoes, as we welcome in Miles.
He's the farmer.
Hello
The farmer. Love it. The farmer from SA up there in Darwin. Swimming from the Crocs at the moment, mate. What's going on?
Yeah, went for a swim this morning. No Crocs though. Weather's beautiful. Little breeze today, but sun's out, not a cloud in the sky. Absolutely magic up here.
So what's on the agenda, mate? Straight to the races.
Yeah, straight out to the races.
What are we backing?
Pretty early. 10 race card. Well, look, we're on motor race.
You fleeced them.
See a bit of a market. Yeah, see a bit of a market move through it again this morning. So it's into $2.40 in most places. Motor race. So we've got motor race running in the Calcutta. I think there's a couple. The one that I'm not going to get out because we won't be on air. We can back Devil's Delight in the first. I think we can around about $4, $4.20. So we'll take on Vinny's Spirit from a wide draw. We'll back Devil's Delight, and then hopefully we can get one of these $8 or $9 pots in Star Casino or throw at the stumps up, and then sort of navigate our way through a tricky little card and then get to the cup, and away we go.
Was it amazing that B Shin's up there after the year he's had, the season he's had, and the start of the spring? I was a bit surprised when I saw that he was going up there for today's meeting, Miles.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised too, Wayne, but I was told that he'd made a sort of a deal, a handshake deal with Peter Roble, who's his great mate, and said, I'll come and ride one in the cup for you.
Okay, right.
And he did have another ride earlier in the day on Stormfront, which all the talk up here, I mean, this place is like Warrnambool. There's more tips floating around the pub here than a can of asparagus. So someone will tell you, I heard this horse is lame, and then you walk 3 metres and someone else tells you that the owner's just declared it, and it's unbelievable. But the Stormfront he was riding, I think, was the better of the two. But, yeah, most certainly Hadouken can win it.
Miles, motor race, big one for you. You managed to fleece them at the Calcutta there last night. How are the nerves? 6 p.m. tonight, you probably won't be able to feel them.
Well, when you got, to win 50 grand's a pretty nice pull. But it was clearly under the odds. I mean, you've only got to do the maths nice and quickly to work that out. So, look, hopefully we can get it done. I mean, second place is essentially your money back, so that's $15,000 a second, and then you sort of half your stake if you run third. But look, he's a nice horse. Todd Panel doesn't get the 55.5 kilos very often, and he's come up here to ride it. So that's a good indication, as good as any. We sat with Johnny and Michael at dinner last night with a heap of the Atomic crew, and they were really good fun. And they'll all be out there today cheering on motor race.
Beautiful. Love your work, mate. We'll be listening in intently this afternoon. Make sure you have a great day. Stay safe. Watch out for the Crocs. And make sure you take the right door. Don't go right, go left when you go to the toilet later on tonight.
Yeah, mate, I'm keeping a lid on it. I've got a flight out at 6 o'clock in the morning.
There he is.
There'll be a firm lid.
Beautiful. Thank you, mate. Good on you. Thanks for your time. There he is, Miles Fitz. Now we'll be back after the break. We'll wrap up what has been a very, very fun means test.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to the Means Test. This is Giddy Up. Mick, Gannon, Wayne Hawks with you. The Bet365 Bet Boost SEN Track. Go to the app. Motor Race Darwin Race 10. $2.60 now, $3.20. Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. And the Means Test brought to you by Coolmore Australia and Osborne South Yarra. Wayno, it's been a pleasure.
It's been good. Someone texted her out. Liberty State, was it too heavy? No, she just had enough and she's going to be retired and go to Stoke.
Is she?
She is, yes.
Okay. Any winners for us this weekend? This week?
Algorithmic's running in Melbourne on Wednesday. He's promised plenty. Has to step up. I just see there he's drawn barrier 1 at Sandown on Wednesday.
That'll do. Over what trip?
1,200 first up.
Oh, like that. Who's riding?
B. Shin, as long as he gets back from Darwin. Thanks
Safe
for having
and
me.
sound. There it is. That's the Means Test. Thanks, Wayne.
Pleasure was all yours.
Certainly was.
See you, mate.
See ya.
Thank you, everybody.
Powered by Signet. Good morning, I'm Adam Pont with SEN News. Over 90,000 people have marched across the Sydney Harbour Bridge, battling the wet weather in a huge pro-Palestine rally yesterday. Former Foreign Minister Bob Carr and Julian Assange among those calling for an end to the war in Gaza. Acting New South Wales Police Commissioner Adam Johnson telling Seven there were some safety concerns with such huge numbers.
We're just so grateful that the crowd was well behaved. They listened to our instructions. But I can say in 35 years of policing, this was one of the most dangerous and high-risk situations that were presented with us. Effectively, there was only limited injuries, minor injuries, and no one was killed, thank God.
Irene from Home and Away is top of the Aussie TV world this morning. Actor Lynn McGranger